For more tips on safe sleep for babies, visit safetosleep.nichd.nih.gov. That's safetosleep.nichd.nih.gov. Sponsored by the Eunice Kennedy Shriver National Institute of Child Health and Human Development.
Imagine battling cancer and actually beating it. You feel like you've just come out of the woods, only to discover you're about to go over another cliff. Hi, I'm Kathy Bates, and as a two-time cancer survivor, I can tell you nothing prepared me for the challenge of lymphedema, a chronic disease often brought on by cancer treatment that compromises the lymphatic system and leads to a lifetime of severe swelling and pain. Lymphedema, LE, affects more Americans each year than AIDS, Parkinson's, MS, muscular dystrophy, and ALS combined. Yet with proper treatment, it can be managed or even prevented. That's why I urge everyone facing a cancer diagnosis to be your own best advocate. Discuss LE with your doctor before undergoing surgery. With patients and doctors working together, we can learn and live. Learn more at lymphaticnetwork.org.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11, here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and OU253 DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. It's time to get up and get your day started. Morant. Jawbreaker! It's Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. The first hour of Sports 56 Mornings is brought to you by the Big Green Egg. Now, here are your hosts, Greg and
Eli. Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome in. Time for the final show of the week. Sports 56 Mornings on this Friday, August 9th, 2024. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, Zach Boyd, a cast of thousands here, broadcasting live and in color from the Family Leisure Studios. Family Leisure, it's where family and fun come together. The world's biggest spa sale now going on at Family Leisure. Save thousands on in-stock hot tubs, ready for delivery, spa starting at just $28.99. Cold plunges starting at $39.99. Swim spas starting at $17,499. Special financing available at Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of Interstate 40. And the first hour of the program also brought to you by a summer staple, but an all-around staple, the Big Green Egg. Currently 71 degrees. Looking at a high today of 88 with suns and clouds mixed. Then tonight, clear skies and a low of 66. Wow. Tomorrow for your Saturday, 84. Again, clouds and sun mixed with a very minimal chance of precipitation. Same deal for Sunday. Again, a high of 86. Then we get into the 90s next week, just in time for the FedEx St. Jude Championship. Coming up on the program today, John Varlas will join us as he does every Friday at 7:25. We will talk to Action News 5's Matt Infield at 9:05. We'll talk to him about a number of things, including Memphis Tigers football as the first week of training camp continues, and we're just 3 weeks away from the Tigers' first game of the year. 3 weeks from tomorrow. The college football season, though, 2 weeks, with week 0, of course, kicking things off, a few games week 0. So we're just a couple of weeks away from that. Today on the program, we will also have 10 in a row, the game show that has swept the nation. We'll talk Olympics, give you an update and a recap with what happened yesterday. Got some Memphis Tigers basketball news to get to. We'll do that in just a few moments. NFL preseason, had a couple of games last night, 3 more on tap for tonight. We'll update you on everything that's happening in the golf world as we get ready for the big week here in Memphis next week. News from Ole Miss as well, as far as the future and revenue sharing in college sports, which is coming down the pike. That's all coming up on the program today. Good morning. Happy Friday to you.
Happy Friday to you. Happy Friday to everybody out there.
What's going on? Feeling good?
I feel great. Fantastic. Amazing.
I think you're lying.
I'm not. This week's gone by fast.
It has gone by fast.
Been a good week. Been a fun week.
I remember I was on my vacation and then got back, and okay, it's going to drag. It's the dog days of summer, and here we are. High school football ready to start. There's some scrimmages tonight. Get the jamborees next week, I think it is, and then the start of the regular season. But as I said, week 0, college football, several games. Florida State in action in week 0. That's a couple weeks from now. And then the Memphis Tigers.
In Ireland.
They'll be in Ireland, absolutely, against Georgia Tech. And then, again, 3 weeks from now is the start in earnest of the college football season, aptly named Week 1. Got some college basketball news, though, to open up. Hitmen Hoops reported yesterday a number of things. First of all, and we had heard the rumors that this could happen, but they report that Nolan Smith, the former Louisville assistant, is expected to be on staff next season at Memphis. They say that they are close to finalizing the contract, and also indicate that former DePaul assistant Tony Harvey also working through his contract. They say he has been in Memphis and has met with Penny several times over the last few weeks. The reason for the delay, as you would imagine, financial related. Well, when you look at that staff, that ever-evolving staff for Penny Hardaway, you can understand financially where everything is coming from. If I'm not mistaken. Now, again, our buddy Andy Borman will not be back. But the additions to this staff, Mike Davis, again, according to reports, Penny has not said anything about this. There has not been any release from the school as far as the official staff is concerned. It's very interesting because we've had all season of changeover and turnover in the coaching staff of Memphis Tigers basketball and Memphis Grizzlies basketball. We talked to Jason March a little bit about that yesterday, who is now back as an assistant after coaching the Memphis Hustle for a number of years. But with the Tigers, we've heard the name Mike Davis as, I believe, a paid consultant. The return of Rick Stansbury, who is the lead assistant coach. Jermaine Johnson, who has been back and forth in the front row, in the back row, part of Penny's coaching staff in different roles, that he may have one of the assistant coaches' positions. And then Nolan Smith, again, according to this report, would have the third assistant coach's position. Faraji Phillips will drop back and do other things, but will not be one of the assistants. Again, this is all according to reports out there. And there is also who am I missing?
Andre Turner.
Andre Turner from Lane, former head coach at Lane, former head coach at Mitchell, former Memphis Tiger star. So, again, and there's other guys on the staff in other roles that are gone, others that have been retained. But if this all comes to fruition, Stansbury, Jermaine Johnson, Andre Turner, Nolan Smith, Tony Harvey, Faraji Phillips. I mean, this is a big staff for Penny Hardaway.
Yeah, I like these college staffs anymore. I don't even understand it, quite frankly. Like I don't know how many guys you can possibly need, but they continue to create positions, whether it be football, whether it be basketball, whatever. You watch these staffs come out onto the court, and you're like, what the hell's going on here? Why is there 46 guys who aren't in uniform? Like, that aren't players. It's amazing to me anymore, the size of coaching staffs in college sports.
Nolan Smith, by the way, played at Duke, won a national championship. Ironically, Andy Borman, who he would replace, conceivably, would be a Dookie replacing a Dookie. But again, nothing official as far as the staff is concerned. Hitman Hoops also reporting that they believe there is still the possibility of Penny adding one more player to complete the roster. And here we are again in August, but it has happened for several years now that Penny has added to his roster very late in the calendar year, if you will, with either somebody being added in late August or September. Also, obviously last year, Naquan Tomlin added during the season. So you never say never as far as the ever-evolving roster.
I don't even know where, soon they're going to have to start, some of these teams are going to have to start, having the bleachers behind the bench, or, that's team personnel.
First 2 rows.
First 5 rows are just team personnel. We don't have room to put enough chairs out for guys. So we're just going to take you student sections. Get the hell out of here. We need those seats. I don't even know. I obviously, with the whole thing now of analysts being able to coach everything else, these football staffs seemingly have 40 coaches, basketball, just different, the director of this and the director of that and the whatever. It's amazing to me. Really amazing to me.
Well, and again, still the buck has to stop with the head coach, because then you have too many voices in the heads of these student athletes. And not that they can't comprehend it all. You don't want too many people telling you things, because they may be telling you different things if they're not on the same page. But you're right. It's the ever-evolving coaching staffs that are getting larger and larger in every sport. Well, speaking of basketball, yesterday, the United States men's Olympic basketball team somehow survived Serbia 95-91. I think that's a movie, Surviving Serbia. 95-91, the United States advanced to the gold medal game, where they will play the host from France, which is a rematch of the World Championship from last year. Was it the FIBA World Championship where it was France beating the United States? Or am I talking
FIBA
about
World Cup last year? Well, FIBA World Cup, did we play France? I don't remember.
Or is it Tokyo that I'm thinking of? But this is a rematch of a recent international, big battle between the United States and France. But the United States almost didn't get there, because for 3 quarters, Serbia outplayed them. Serbia led at halftime, 54-43. Had the lead at up to 17 points at one point in this game. Then after 3 quarters, after the United States started out the second half quickly, Serbia started to hit threes again and led 76-63. They had a 13-point lead going into the fourth quarter. What happened? Well, the United States made some key shots, but more importantly, the United States made some key stops. The defense became tougher. They put a stranglehold on the Serbian three-point shooters. Serbia, which hit 15 of 39 from 3, did not make a three-pointer in the fourth quarter. The United States, in the meantime, 16 of 32, 50% from 3. Most of that, Steph Curry, who went for 36 points, scored 17 in the first quarter to keep the United States even within shouting distance. He also had 8 rebounds. He was fantastic. Joel Embiid was great, especially late in the game, 19 points. LeBron, a triple-double. 16 points, 12 rebounds, 10 assists. Jokic, 17 and 11. Bogdanovic, 20 for Serbia. But again, survive and advance, and that's what the United States did.
Yeah, that was fun. I was into it. I honestly thought when Serbia pushed it back up at the end of the third quarter to 13, I thought we're going to lose this game. They're going to lose this game somehow, which is just crazy. But Steve Kerr finally got that lineup in there and rode the big dogs. I don't know if Joel Embiid's performance is enough to convince the texter who constantly texts in says he shouldn't be playing at all, but Joel Embiid was awesome in that. Obviously, LeBron, he hit a different gear. After he had that little thing with Bogdanovic and in their huddle and stuff, you could tell LeBron was in a mode of okay, y'all want to try this with me? Okay, we'll do this. Obviously, Curry finally, after not really making shots at all, to have the game he had was absolutely incredible. Durant comes in, makes a couple of big shots. They gave him the one possession. They just basically gave him the ball, make it happen, and he did because he can do that. It was, when you're talking about the guys that are out there, you got 4 former MVPs on the court together. As Durant said afterwards, they weren't even really calling plays. It was just playing off of each other and just go. And that's what, again, when you have that group out there, you should be able to do that. Like, just somebody should be able to make a play and either create for themselves or create for somebody else. And, Booker made the big three on the 6-point possession, which really that possession probably was the biggest thing of the game when Curry made the three, they got the foul and then got the ball back and Booker made the three. But I'll tell you what, Bogdanovich, I'll give that dude credit. I didn't think he had that in. He was like, not even like just the making of shots or anything else, but like the going at Carmelo and everything else. I did not know Bogdanovich had that kind of attitude in him. Like, he was ready to fight anybody. He's talking trash to whoever will listen. Like, I was like, whoa. I had no clue that this dude was like that.
First thing I had to do was check which Bogdanovich it was. It was the Hawks Bogdanovich. Second of all, you're absolutely right. I didn't know he had that in him, that dog in him. But if you were a Serbian fan, you had to start to think at that point, just like we do with our athletes, shut your mouth. Don't do that now. Don't wake up the sleeping bear. Don't wake up LeBron. And they woke up LeBron. Stop it. It's 3 quarters. That's fun. I love gamesmanship. I love showmanship. That's great. But you haven't accomplished anything winning in 3 quarters. You have to win in 4 quarters. And it just seemed to elevate the United States. Either that or, of course, it was desperation time for the United States. By the way, it was the United States beating France in Tokyo in the gold medal game, 87-82. Kevin Durant was the MVP of the tournament. And, of course, KD will be back. But there is one big difference for France, a guy by the name of Victor Wembanyama. So I still think the United States wins. They win gold. But this would have been something. Our narrative would have been a lot different today. There would have been a lot of callers and texters and people complaining about this supposed great United States team not being able to survive to go to the gold medal match. But they got it done, and that's all that matters. As Steph Curry said afterwards, he talked about that. It doesn't matter if it's we can't win every game by 25. They were outplayed for 3 quarters. But when it came down to it, when push came to shove, they were the better team. And they did it with defense. Timely shooting, timely buckets by Steph and Embiid, and LeBron was great, as he always is, which is just, again, nuts, a guy that's going to be 40. But they shut them down defensively.
Well, they turned up the defensive intensity, which early in the game there was certainly some laziness and things like that. They also, it may have been some regression to the mean or whatever, but Serbia also just missed some shots that they were making earlier in the game. Like, they had a couple of wide open looks in that 4th quarter that didn't go down.
Well, is that the pressure? Knowing that they were about to make history?
It might have been they got tight. It might have been, again, regression to the mean because some of these guys they're not supposed to be making threes at the rate they were. Because there was a couple of times because the U.S. was paying so much attention to Jokic. They gave up those offensive rebounds. Like 3 straight possessions, they gave up offensive rebounds, and the one led to a wide open 3, and the guy missed that. But I think Serbia, I'm sure there was some feeling of it, like as that avalanche starts, and you're like, oh gosh, here they come. Like they look across, like, okay, this is LeBron and Durant and Curry, and it'd be like, and here they come. Like, what do we do? How do we stop this locomotive? And so you're like, when you get that open look, you're like, oh my God, I got to make this. And then you miss. So, I think there definitely was some guys who were feeling it, especially as the U.S. started the comeback. I give Steve Kerr credit for riding that lineup. Like, there was no reason to make any subs. To me, Anthony Edwards was awful. After his first stint on the court, he did not need to go back into the game. He was awful. Anthony Edwards yesterday was the young kid who thinks it's going to be easy because we've beaten this team by 26 twice already. Mm-hmm. So who cares? I'm going to go out here, I'm going to screw around. I don't have to play defense. On offense, I'll do whatever. If I turn it over, who cares? Anthony Edwards was awful. I don't know why to me, I'd have been like, Anthony, you're done. Jason Tatum, if we're going to go to somebody, put Jason Tatum in the game. Like, I don't, but look, I was like, please do not let Anthony Edwards step on the floor in this fourth quarter because he just, like you could tell, he just really wasn't that interested in the game. He thought it was just going to be an easy win because they'd beaten Serbia twice already.
He's a kid. You live and learn, but they didn't bring Tatum in. They stuck with the bigs as far as the big names, the Durants, the LeBron James, and Embiid was really good. And like you said, you give Kirk credit for that, but certainly early in the game, he was mixing and matching. He was bringing in a lot of guys off the bench, whereas Serbia, they basically rode with their starting five throughout most of that game. Now, look, I understand Jokic is the best player on the planet right now. He's the best player. His MVPs pretty much tell that story. And there are several other guys like Bogdanovich who play in the NBA. This is a very good team. Don't get me wrong. But there's no reason why the United States should have been down 17 points to Serbia and struggled all the way until they were able to pull it out in the end. There's no reason. You had Guduric, one-time Grizzly Guduric, who was crushing them. Guduric, who would be the 200th best player in the NBA. Guduric. So this is not, yes, the international teams play basketball well. Have they caught up to the United States? No, they haven't caught up to the United States, even though the United States have had certainly their issues. Last year in the FIBA, they haven't won every single time in the Olympic Games, but they should. And even though these teams are getting better around the world, they still don't match up player for player, 12 versus 12. Now, you can only play 5 on the court, I understand that, but it shouldn't even be that close, and it was. And it will probably be close in the gold medal game against a French team that will have the crowd behind them. If Embiid thought the boos were loud before, wait until this game.
Oh, it's going to be, the atmosphere will be amazing. When the French have played, it's been crazy. And now going against the behemoth of the United States, and then with Joel Embiid on the other side, all of that stuff. Yeah, the atmosphere, and that you hope that this kind of shows okay, we need to come out with a little more urgency to begin, especially because you want to try and take the crowd. Don't fall behind to them and let that crowd just start going absolutely bonkers, because then you'll turn into a just crazy atmosphere in there if you let that team jump out to you.
Right.
I don't think there's a team in the world that can shoot it better than what Serbia did to start that game. They made every shot, and it didn't matter who it was. I mean, guys like Avramovic and stuff he's just throwing it up, and I'm like, dude, seriously, you can't. Can you possibly make every shot you take? Because that's what it felt like Serbia was on the way to. Jokic goes 0 for 6 from three-point range. He's the only guy that couldn't make a three. Everybody else, I swear that they could have been throwing up hook shots and it wouldn't have mattered. Every shot they took, it felt like in the first half went in.
If there was a Vitch at the end of their name, they were making threes. That's the way it went.
When Bogdanovich did that 3-point celebration, I'm like, I'm looking at Tyrese Halliburton. Hey, bro, take your jersey off real quick. Put this on Melo. You're not going to sit here and disrespect the all-time great in Olympic history, sir.
I was stunned by it. I was like, I just did not know that this guy was that type of guy. He just kept doing it. I'm like, wow. Bizarre to me.
I am one that believes that when that stuff happens, and you're doing it at the expense of the greats rise to the occasion. You don't piss off LeBron James. I don't understand why you're going bat crazy because you have a big lead in the third quarter or whenever that was. I don't care. I care about the final score. I care about the end of the fourth quarter and what the score is on that scoreboard. And that score indicated the United States beat Serbia 95-91. So you're Bogdanovich after the game, you're probably thinking, man, I acted like an ass. Why did I do that? Well, again, I understand the emotions in the middle of a game, but do that within your team. Don't do that at the expense of somebody else. It's only going to get it's just like the whole thing we were talking about last week about Patrick Mahomes and the Kermit doll, Kermit the Frog doll. I mean, don't do anything more to ignite Patrick Mahomes, who already will beat you every which way but Sunday.
I thought Carmelo might go grab the jersey from somebody. Carmelo wanted it in that game. Carmelo's like, hey, Jason Tatum, you don't need it today. Give me your jersey. Carmelo's like, I'll go score this dude. I don't care.
Give him his headband. I need the shooting sleeve. I need everything that Melo needs to get on this court right now. Because you're not going to sit here and put 3 in the dome with my kid on the sideline.
Right.
By the way, his kid was getting ready to get up and was going to get ready to fight him. It was that serious.
How about when I loved it when Noah Eagle said they were talking about all the guys over there, and he said it's like celebrity row over there. He's like, you got Carmelo Anthony and Dirk Nowitzki and Bronny and Bryce James.
Yeah.
Right.
Come on.
Right.
Come on. Right. No. You don't say Carmelo Anthony, Dirk Nowitzki, and Bronny and Bryce James. They don't get the same. Come on now. I know who they are, but they don't get that type of heading.
You got Michael Jordan and Marcus Jordan.
Yeah. Come on now.
It's a big drop off.
By the way, rappers they're in attendance last night. For the game afternoon last night, I guess in Paris.
Mm-hmm.
You got Quavo. You know who Quavo is?
I've heard of him.
Yeah, part of the Migos.
Yes,
okay?
yes. The three amigos.
Yeah. Travis Scott. Are you aware?
Yes,
of
I've heard of him.
Scott?
I've heard of him.
All right, that's perfect. So they were in attendance last.
I can't imagine what the celebrities are going to be in there for Friday or for Saturday.
I saw the Sixers owner was in the front row. Ruben, is that his name? The guy who owns Fanatics. I'm sure there were a lot more celebrities. It was almost when I did the Tyson Lewis fight, and they made me for HBO and Showtime. Made me go out and find the celebrities myself, write them down, and announce them at the beginning. And I announced a ton of them because a lot of them were right there in the second row, third row, fourth row, right behind us. We were in the first row. And then I guarantee you there were a billion other celebrities that were there that I didn't know about. It's the same thing at these events, that there's probably celebrities they don't even know are there or they can't identify. So, yeah, wait till the gold medal game. How many celebrities are going to be there?
Don't disrespect
including Bronny and Bryce James. They will be there as well. All right, we got a lot more about the Olympics to talk about later on, including the whole deal with Noah Lyles yesterday. We will do that later on in the program. But when we come back, John Varlas will join us. High school football is just about ready to kick off. Pinnacle Roofing and Restoration for all your roofing and home repair needs. Call Brandon McCullough at 901-438-5084 or go online to newroofmemphis.com. They offer financing, different plans and options to choose from, including a 6, 12, or 18-month same as cash option. They'll work with your insurance company or out of pocket, whatever it takes. Pinnacle does both residential and commercial roofing, so business owners and property managers, along with homeowners, if you have a leak or any other roofing problem, call Brandon today. They'll come out and do a free roof inspection. They're licensed, bonded, and insured, and a member of the Better Business Bureau. Get a 5-year labor warranty on the purchase of a new roof. All their work, satisfaction guaranteed. Carpentry work, exterior painting. They can replace gutters, put up fencing, siding, shingles, rotten wood repair, whatever you can't do yourself. Call the experts at Pinnacle Roofing and Restoration. Again, for all your roofing and home repair needs, if you can't do it yourself, call the experts, locally owned and operated, Pinnacle Roofing and Restoration. Call Brandon. Tell him you heard it here on Sports 56 Mornings, 901-438-5084 or online at newroofmemphis.com. John Varlas is next. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 98.5 FM.
We are Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in to Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Locally owned and operated for over 40 years, Automatic Gates Construction tailors custom gate solutions for all your residential, commercial, and industrial needs, including repairs, maintenance, and installation. Automatic Gates Construction specializes in designing and installing automatic gates and fencing that seamlessly blends security, functionality, and aesthetic appeal. Elevate the safety and efficiency of your property with a premium gate solution. Automatic Gates Construction at myautomaticgates.com.
They can't get that Central Barbecue location on Central back open soon enough.
It's still going to be a little while. They do things right at Central Barbecue. That's why every location is so unique.
I know, but there's a lot of different Central Barbecue locations, but I miss the OG, the Central Barbecue on Central.
You know it's going to be completely different.
Well, not completely.
Yeah, when the Central Barbecue location on Central reopens, it'll be bigger, nicer, more streamlined.
But still on Central.
That's about the only thing. For the time being, until they tell us different, you can't go wrong with any of the Central Barbecue locations.
You know, I think we broke a record for saying Central Barbecue the most times in a Central Barbecue commercial.
Getting engaged is one of life's most spectacular occasions. And when you find your ring at Sissy's Log Cabin, the promise of a lifetime begins with our promise to always provide unmatched quality, superior service, and brilliant natural diamonds. Find your dream engagement ring, wedding bands, and more when you shop Sissy'sLogCabin.com or stop by one of our 6 locations. Begin the rest of your life brilliant. Only at Sissy's Log Cabin, because life's too short for ordinary jewelry.
The best golfers on the PGA Tour are coming to Memphis to kick off the FedEx Cup playoffs at the FedEx St. Jude Championship. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM will be broadcasting live at TPC Southwood throughout the day, Wednesday through Friday of tournament week, keeping you up to date with the latest tournament news. Our coverage from TPC Southwood and Sports 56 and 98.5 FM is brought to you by Landers Ford in Collierville. Also sponsored by Sissy's Log Cabin, First National Bank, Ronnie Grisani's, Banyan Tree Realtors, DeSoto Honda, Jim's Place, and South Haven Supply.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning, Ari. A little bit of volume now. Coming down I-40 westbound. Over here, passing 269 as that traffic builds in from Fayette County into Shelby County. It's been quiet so far as really bad wrecks. Now, we've had a couple of fender benders so far up to this point. School back in session in certain areas. Please be careful in those school bus pickup zones. Havenly Showers, your curbless shower specialist. Transform your bathroom with a tub. Curbless shower conversion. HavenlyShowers.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Welcome back, everybody. 7:30 the time. Hour number 1 here on the program. Having fun on a Friday. We're going to have even more fun because it's time for John Varlas.
It's time for Greg and Eli's weekly visit with John Varlas on Daily Memphian. Check out John's prep sports coverage and much more at DailyMemphian.com. John is brought to you by Shoot 360 Memphis, where the pros and preps go to get their shot on. Shoot 360 Memphis. Now here's John Varlas with Greg and Eli.
He is the award-winning Daily Memphian prep reporter, but so much more. He's John Varlas. You can follow him on Twitter at John Varlas. He joins us every Friday. And he is brought to you by the great folks at Shoot 360 Memphis, where I was recently, John. Had a great time there, too.
Well, I'm glad, Greg. What did you think?
I loved it.
Yeah, it's nice. I've been to the Collierville facility. I mean, it's really an awesome facility. Both Collierville, Cordova, and you guys were talking a lot about USA basketball in the first segment. Everybody saw Steph Curry yesterday, and you know, Shoot 360, they utilized the very same technology that Steph Curry uses and other, you know, NBA players. You can have access to that very same technology at Shoot 360 Memphis. They're not going to make you Steph Curry. I mean, that's, you know, he's
one of a kind.
He's one of one, but they will definitely make you better. If you're leaning a little bit one way or the other on your shot, if your arc is a little flat, if your trajectory, your release point is a little off, all those things, they have the technology to help you figure all that out and make you a better shooter. And then they have other drills, other tools to make you better in basketball all around. Passing bays, dribbling bays, regular coaching. Greg, I heard you talking about Scott Adubado. I know personally a young lady that he's worked with here in town, and he's helped make her a better basketball player. So they got the whole total package at Shoot 360. Give them a call, 901-316-5500. You can do a membership at Cordova, at Collierville, both. You can do monthly memberships. You can do longer than that. I like your suggestion, Greg. Try it for a month, see what you think. But I bet you'll like it because they're great folks and they're providing a great product. Shoot 360 Memphis.
Well said, John. All right, it's bone picking time. What you got?
Oh, you know what? I think I have a bone with the Olympics, honestly.
Oh, goodness gracious!
You could have probably a few.
Well, just let me. let me finish because it's kind of a joke bone.
A joke
Funny bone. It's the funny bone. We're picking the funny bone today.
Yeah, I was just thinking last night. We've got such a nice break in the weather, and if it wasn't for these stupid Olympics, we could be enjoying the golf tournament this week.
That's right.
With this wonderful weather. Instead, we're going to be out there next week when it's going to be boiling again, and it's the Olympics' fault. So there. Yeah, that's it. It's a joke bone, but no. No, I'm enjoying the Olympics, and I'm really gratified to hear you guys and and some of our other colleagues at other stations and on other shows, really enjoying the whole track.
Oh, yes.
The whole track competition. I've come in here many times and talked about how much I love track, high school track, the Ed Murphy Classic, all that stuff. I mean, I love it, and it's really kind of fun and gratifying to see you guys kind of getting on board as well. I know, after Sunday, it's going to go back into the closet for you guys, and that's fine. But to hear,
along with swimming and gymnastics,
along with everything else, team handball and all the rest. But no, it's fun to see you guys kind of getting into it too, and the track competition has been outstanding. And before we get too much into it, I want to give a shout out to Noah Lyles because he tested for positive COVID, and then he did the responsible thing by social distancing behind Sealy Tobago.
Oh, wow.
Come on, man.
How about that? Too
Wow.
soon?
You're an American.
Too
soon.
Yeah, but all those.
No, it's funny.
All the antics beforehand, and then you go out.
Well,
and finish
I wanted to get into that in the first segment. We ran out of time.
Then you go out, and then you go finish in third place. Now, come on.
Okay, all right. Let's get into that in 1 second. But let me ask you this real quick.
Sure.
Sam Kendricks, who got the silver, got the bronze in Tokyo, he was at the Ed Murphy.
He was.
Duplantis wasn't though, right?
No, Duplantis wasn't, and that's another thing that kind of gets my goat.
For Sweden?
Yeah, Duplantis was born in Louisiana,
Lafayette, Louisiana.
Right, and then I did some research. Apparently, the Swedish Federation they gave his dad a job somehow.
That's exactly right,
and that's how he ended up.
And his mother.
I don't know.
She's on the staff too.
Okay, his mom too. I didn't know his mom, but yeah. So that kind of irks me because he's born in Louisiana, and we could be having all that pole vaulting glory for the red, white, and blue, but instead it's Sweden getting all the glory.
We should have gave his dad a job.
Well, I mean, it's not like it's never happened before.
Well, that's like there's nothing more American. That's just right out of American college
plus
basketball
nepotism and
college
everything
football,
else, right?
Giving people jobs and inducement to come play for you.
The Federation just really dropped the ball on that one.
Okay,
I wonder what Sweden pays for gold medals.
You mean like as a bonus?
Yeah, because we pay $37,000.
Yeah, we're on the cheaper end compared to some of these other countries.
Pays $37,500. What Sweden pays for gold medals? Well, we just pay, if they don't, I'm sure they
fresh
pay more.
air and no crime. That's what they give you.
Well, it may be a gift card at IKEA and a Volvo or something, but no.
All of ABBA's albums.
Well,
get all that.
But in fairness to Sweden, they don't have as many gold medalists, so perhaps they can.
Yeah, I'm saying they probably
pay more. I mean,
yes.
United States has quite a few gold medalists, so it's gonna start hitting in the
that's right.
at some point.
Fort Knox is running out of gold.
Yeah.
I wonder if Sweden has more Winter Olympics. Winter medals, Winter Olympic medals. I would imagine.
I'm
right?
sure they do.
Yeah. But I think was it China? One of those countries pay really handsomely for the medals. So.
Yeah, and I mean, and I think it's just cool, and I mentioned Sealy Tobago, I think that's the first medal that Botswana's ever won. I mean, I'm
in that event, I think.
Oh, okay.
I think they've won some medals.
I thought it was. I think
that's the first medal they've ever won. First gold. I think it's the first gold. Maybe other medal, but I think it's the first gold medal.
I thought it was
the country's ever won.
First gold medal. Okay.
Yeah, I thought it
maybe
was
the first overall medal.
I thought they've won medals before, but I could be wrong.
And then you see, Julian Alfred in the women's 100 from St. Lucia. That's their first medal.
Right.
There's so many cool stories like that, and that I'm gonna miss the Olympics. I'm gonna miss my new Olympic friends when the competition is over.
I'm glad it's every 2 years with the Winter Games coming in 2 years, but the Summer Games every 4, right? The Winter themselves every 4. We don't care as much obviously about the Winter Olympics, but we do about the Summer. It's great. I'm glad it's once every 4 years and not every year, but it's been fun to talk about it. But let's get into the Noah Lyles thing. And then we'll break, and then we'll talk high school football. But I was going to save this for later on in the show. But let's do it since you brought it up. So we talked about him earlier in the week. We talked about his win in the 100. I don't mind showmanship. I have no problem with the way he is. In fact, I embrace that. He's different. He's bold. He's brash. But if you talk the talk, you got to walk the walk. He won the 100 meters. Now he's got the 200 where he's better in the 200. So he comes out. He's not now. Apparently he had worn the mask because he tested positive for COVID like earlier in the day, maybe the day before. But he has no mask. They call his name. He's introduced. He's jumping around, like going crazy, which, people are saying, why don't you save your energy, especially if you got COVID? COVID's going to knock you down a little bit, right? I think we've learned our lesson. So he goes out there, and he gets beat, and he finishes third. As you said, Tubaga won the gold, and then the American Bednarik won the silver. He settles for the bronze. Again, that's fine, but he was expected to win gold. Then he's on the track. He's lying down. He's the medical attention. It seemed like he may have been pooped. He may have been out of breath, but doing all those antics before racing did not help the cause. And number two, I think he kind of almost embraced it and kind of played along with it. Sure, I'm sure he's got a positive COVID test. I don't think he's lying about that, but I think he enhanced it a little bit because that's the kind of personality he is. So I was a little bit off on that kind of antics. I don't mind everything leading up to the race. He lost. Don't make it an excuse that it's COVID. You got beat. I think this guy was getting beat whether he had COVID or not.
Well, I mean, Tebogo did have the best time among all the finalists in qualifying. So, he's a strong runner, and he's really darn good. So, yeah, he's a deserved winner. But with the whole Lyles thing, I'm with you. Well, I'm not entirely with you.
Okay.
My thing is just go out there and perform. All the antics, all the showmanship beforehand. To me that's unnecessary. And then when you don't back it up, well, in my opinion, that you deserve whatever you get after that. In terms of criticism and blowback from the public. If there's anything, if there's anybody that wants to write a column or criticize you for that, I think it's justified at that point. And this COVID thing, Noah Lyles has asthma, so obviously that's probably going to complicate things. But at the same time, he's a world-class athlete.
Well, he won the 100.
Well, he's a world-class athlete. Mm-hmm. So this COVID is going to be like a fly on his. It's going to be like a fly on his back at this point. He's going to be fine. I think if he had won the 200, I don't think we ever would have heard about this COVID diagnosis.
Yeah. So you agree with my latter statement? You just don't like the showmanship.
I'm not saying it's an excuse, but I'm saying it's kind of a convenient thing to fall back on.
That's what I'm saying
at this point. Yeah, and the showmanship. If you're gonna do all that before the race, you got to back it up, man. Well, same thing. You guys were talking about the Serbs and they were kind of chirping with the U.S. during the game yesterday. Well, the U.S. is down double digits in the first half, and LeBron James scores a basket, and then he does the too small gesture to one of the Serbian guys. At this point, you're getting your butt kicked. So ease with the gestures, right? If you're going to give it out, then rightfully the Serbs are going to.
Although I have more faith that LeBron's going to come through than Bogdanovich is going to come through.
Well, of course, but their careers demonstrate that.
Right.
But if you're going to be giving it out during the course of the game, you can't be, you can't start acting all weird later on when they start giving it back to you.
Well, I don't like inside the game itself or the event itself the antics, but leading up to it, if that's the way Noah Lyles is, which he apparently is, I have no problem. You said you had no problem, right?
I actually like it. I think it's entertaining, and it's how he gets. Like he even right before when they showed him in the back yesterday, you heard he said, "Where's the energy?" Like he has to do that. Like that's how he gets ready for a race. Is he wants that energy? That's what kind of fuels him. So who cares if he does it? And it's like, yes, COVID affected him. He had asthma. He has serious asthma. Yes, sprinting 200 meters, but just the fact that you just did what you did in 100 a few days ago and have to come back and do it, it's not easy to do that anyway. That's why there's not a ton of people who do the double. Yes, the COVID's going to affect him, and he's going to be out of breath afterwards after sprinting 200 meters at that speed when you have a history of asthma and now have COVID.
But you didn't need to be jumping around and doing
because that's when we can get ready for a race. Like he has to do that.
But he understands he has COVID. I think he's intelligent enough, or his coaches are, to tell him, a little bit easier before you start this race because you're going to lose some of that energy by jumping around. My wife's in the medical field. She said that. She said he's going to be affected by COVID, and doing all that stuff before he starts the race is going to do the reverse thing. It's yes, he does that to psych himself up, but it's going to hurt him. And she was absolutely right.
Well, my only thing is, I mean, I've seen enough track meets, and people do that to get themselves energized and get the crowd pumped up.
I have no problem with that.
My thing is, if you're going to kind of make a spectacle of yourself and draw that attention to yourself, you have to back it up. And if not, you're.
Well, yeah, I mean, but okay, so if you're like that, you have to win every race ever. You can't ever lose. Sometimes guys are just better. And again, when you have COVID. Like you say, it affected. We don't know what would happen if he didn't do that. If he had just walked to a starting block, we have no idea what he would have finished. You can't say it affected him. We have no idea if it affected him or not.
What are you talking about here? What did
you just said it affected him. Him jumping up and down before the race affected him. We have no idea if it affected him. He might have finished 5th if he didn't do that.
Well, you said that COVID affected him. So how do you know COVID affected him?
Because he was laying on the track after the race.
That's our point.
And they had to take him off in a wheelchair.
That's our point. I think he embellished it. That's what I think he did.
Why would you say that? A guy with a history of asthma with COVID, you think he's like embellishing it after sprinting 200 meters?
I think he embellished it. John, you do too.
I do too. I have a healthy journalism's sense of skepticism and a little bit of an insight into human nature. I mean, I think it's kind of.
He came in third. He was probably embarrassed that he came in third, and now you enhance it a little bit more. That's the reason why.
Not necessarily embarrassed, Greg, but yeah, you're right.
Or shocked or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, you kind of, I do think he kind of leaned into it a little bit more so than he would have if he had won. That's all I'm saying.
Right, but I'm still saying through somebody I know in the medical field, my wife, that she thinks that it certainly affected him. And all I'm saying is when you start to try to continue to do what you normally do, psych yourself up, when you're healthy, that's fine. But when you are dealing with COVID, which, again, I'm not going to sit here and say, I'm sure they're lying about. No, he tested positive. It seems like that's honest and truthful. Then that is going to affect your stamina. And you go out there jumping around like crazy before you race in a 200-meter, I think there's a good chance it affected you.
Well, bottom line, he'll be fine. He's had a great Olympics. He's a great competitor. It's just
he'll be back.
Yeah, there's nothing to hang your head about. And that's another cool thing about the Olympics. You see some of these athletes that finish third, or they finish 5th or 10th. They're delighted. I mean, it's just like where you are.
Sure.
And it's like where you are. So for him, third may be a disappointment.
Right.
But, for somebody else, third
that's
is
a great
fantastic.
point. Some are happy to be there. Some, if it's not gold, it's a disappointment.
And that's what makes it a great competition.
Right.
This hour of our program is brought to you by the Big Green Egg. Go to biggreenegg.com. Get all the details about the best grill there is, that being the Big Green Egg. They got 7 different sizes for you to choose from, all the egg accessories as well. You can also go to the A's Hardware stores here in town or Hamilton Fireplace. They're all distributors of the Big Green Egg. You can see in person and check out all the things that it can do with the Big Green Egg.
All right, we'll talk some prep football with John Varlas when we return. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
At Blue Cross Blue Shield of Tennessee, they're proud to give back to communities across the state. Giving back to St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital, which helps treat and defeat childhood cancer, is a meaningful effort that is very close to their hearts. They're honored to stand alongside 1,600 dedicated volunteers and tournament participants as they make this year's annual FedEx St. Jude Golf Tournament fundraiser a resounding success right here in Memphis, Tennessee. To read more about how Blue Cross Blue Shield helps communities, please visit bcbst.com.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. In these uncertain economic times, there are so many things as a contractor and a business owner that I cannot control. The rising cost of materials, not to mention fuel and transportation costs. In the last 2 years, shingle prices have almost doubled, and commercial materials have doubled. And I don't have to tell you what fuel costs these days. But you know what I can control? How much markup I put on a project. I have always prided myself in knowing I never gouge a customer. But in an effort to ensure my crews have work and my customers are being treated fairly, I have lowered my profit margin, hoping to give you a price you can live with and keeping my crews busy. So if you need a roof or gutters, please give us a call. 5 Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 5 Ash Roofing, a proud sponsor of Tiger Athletics and a member of the Tigers home team. 367-0050 or MemphisRoofer.com. 367-0050 or MemphisRoofer.com.
Drive like a pro and support a great cause during the sales drive at Lander Sport in Collierville, Lander Sport South in South Haven, and Lander Sport North in Covington. We've provided over 100 new Fords to be driven by the pros at the FedEx St. Jude Championship. Now they're all being sold with demo prices. That's right. Over 100 new Fords driven by the pros are being sold with demo pricing below market value. A portion of the proceeds go directly to the St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. This is a once-a-year opportunity to trade up and drive like a pro while supporting a great cause. Visit LandersMemphis.com. That's LandersMemphis.com. Or come see us at Lander Sport in Collierville, Lander Sport South in South Haven, or Lander Sport North in Covington. With our Landers Easy Pass, you can get top dollar for your trade-in to help you save even more. Don't miss your chance. Reserve your demo price new Ford driven by a pro at the FedEx St. Jude Championship and lock in low APR financing. Remember, if it doesn't say Landers, you paid too much.
Maybe, like me, you're not a morning person. Maybe you, like me, like to sleep in. That's why Sunrise on Jefferson and Sunrise East on Poplar both serve breakfast until they close at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. There's no law that says you can't have the freshest, tastiest, all-around bestest breakfast in Memphis for lunch. Just head to either Sunrise location and proudly order yourself some eggs, some signature house-made square biscuits, or maybe even throw in a Bloody Mary. It's your breakfast. Have it when you want. And, of course, have it at Sunrise.
Welcome back, 7:50 the time. More with John Varlas, brought to you by Shoot 360 Memphis. All right, high school football. We have scrimmages today, jamborees next week, and then the season starts in 2 weeks.
That is correct. Some good scrimmage action tonight for anybody who's interested. It should be a beautiful night too for scrimmages, which is why I was picking a bone with the Olympics earlier. But no, it's that time of year. There's going to be a really interesting three-way scrimmage out at Collierville, and I'm not sure how this is going to work because last week Mace and Collierville scrimmage, just the two of them. Well, tonight Mace is going to go back out to Collierville, and Southwind is also going to be out at Collierville as well. So I'm not sure if Mace is going to scrimmage Collierville again or if they're just going to scrimmage Southwind. I don't know exactly what the format's going to be, but all those three teams are going to be out at Collierville tonight starting at 6 o'clock, and all three of those should be really good. Southwind's coming off the best season in school history, 13 wins, and before they lost in the state semifinals to Page out of Franklin. So, and they should be really good again. They're returning, of course, the Mr. Football winner, Kelvin Perkins, the great quarterback. Tremendous offensive line at Southwind. I mean, bunch of big guys that can really go up front. Some good wide receivers that have come in from the high school transfer portal to work with Kelvin Perkins. So that's going to be interesting and see if they can kind of build off last year's success and show that they're not one-hit wonders. And then, Mace, in Class 1A, they're always going to be competitive with Cedric Miller. They've got some really good size up front as well. Charles Humphrey, their junior offensive lineman, goes 6'5", 6'6", about 300. He's starting to get some major college attention.
They call him Tiny.
They do not, but he's starting to get some major college attention. Stanley Burrows, a really good linebacker over there for Mace, and they've got some good skill guys as well, as always. So they're going to contend in Class 1A. And then Collierville, they're going to be right in the thick of that battle royal in Region 8 6A with Bartlett, Houston, of course, the state champions, Germantown, Whitehaven, and even White Station. I'm hearing that White Station, has a chance to be much improved this year. So that's just going to make that region all the much harder. So they'll be out at Collierville. Lausanne's scrimmage in White Station today. I'm not sure where that is because they're doing some construction over there at Lausanne. So I don't know if it's going to be at Lausanne or not. Somebody can text in and let us know. Central's going to be scrimmaging at Bartlett. Bolton is going to be out at FACS, 2 programs that are on the rise, 2 smaller programs. So lots of good action, all over. I've posted the games on my Twitter feed. So go out and catch some scrimmages tonight. It should be a fun night, and it's free. You can go out and see some football.
I'm sure coaches have loved this weather this week because they can actually practice at normal times. They don't have to wait till it cools down at night or whatever.
Oh, for sure. And just, I'm sorry, Eli, just looking at you as the voice of CBHS football, it reminds me that the state champs, Houston, is going to be out at Christian Brothers tonight out at Tom Nix Stadium. So that's another really good scrimmage. I think, Christian Brothers showed some potential in their first scrimmage. They might have a playmaker this year in Javon Slayton. So there's a name to keep an eye on. He hit several big plays in that scrimmage last week. So keep an eye on Slayton and let's see what Christian Brothers is going to bring to the table this year.
Are there any like is there a certain number of scrimmages you're allowed? Like, what are the rules as far as scrimmaging? Other teams,
two of these more or less official scrimmages would last Friday and this Friday, or last week and this week. It doesn't necessarily have to be on Friday, and then of course you can do a jamboree as well. So next Friday we'll have the city jamboree, and I think we'll have some municipal jamborees and private jamborees as well. I know FACS is hosting a jamboree where Christian Brothers and I think Briarcrest and maybe ECS is going to be out there as well, or maybe St. Benedict. So some of those schools will be out at FACS too. So lots of good action coming up, and then the season starts in 2 weeks, and we'll have our Dandy Dozen out, the city's most trusted preseason rankings. We got good preview stories, constantly posted on our website. We visited Southwind, posted a great story about them. Mm-hmm. We'll have something posted on the Fairleigh Bulldogs and what they have in store with Coach Copeland. Sometime today we should have that posted. Fairleigh should be really good, coming off a semifinal appearance. So exciting times in high school football. I mean, there's lots of teams that have the potential to make some noise this year, and I'm excited about it.
I like how you slipped in while talking about Southwind, the high school transfer portal.
Well, it's not.
I know.
It's not a portal per se.
I know, but I'm just. It's the truth. It's the truth.
It's trickling down. I mean, everything trickles down. Everything from the college game eventually trickles down into the high school game, and with open enrollment in the Memphis City school system. I mean, that's led to some transfers. Some programs have certainly gained from that this offseason. Sure. I think about Melrose in particular. Some programs may have been hurt by that, and it's just going to be interesting to see how these new pieces are going to fit. But, when you got a quarterback like Kelvin Perkins and he's going to be there, he's a junior, so he's going to be there 2 years. I mean, you 2 more years, you figure, if you're a wide receiver, Southwind is an attractive looking place to play. I mean, you get a chance to play with, a Mr. Football winner and a guy that's going to get you the football and a guy that's going to make you look good while making himself look good at the same time.
So, John, we're winding down on time, but this will be a big recruitment year for Perkins, correct?
Correct.
The junior year.
Yeah, the junior year is the big year. So, yeah, there's it's going to be interesting to see where he kind of what his recruiting profile kind of looks like. I mean, he's getting bigger, but he's still only about 6'1" and about 195 pounds. But the intangibles he's already got, he can make the throws. It's just going to be kind of interesting to see where he kind of slots in terms of offers and interest and things of that nature.
All right. Well, keep up with John. Obviously, it gets underway tonight, at least as far as scrimmages are concerned. Follow John on Twitter at John Varlas and catch him every Friday right here on Sports 56 Mornings. Thank you, John.
Thank you, guys. Have a great weekend.
You as well. John Varlas, brought to you by Shoot 360 Memphis. One of our other great sponsors is Corky's Ribs and Barbecue. Before you head out to any of the scrimmages tonight, stop by one of their 4 restaurants or maybe pick up some Corky's and bring it along with you. Do a little tailgating. You can dine in at either the Poplar Avenue in Memphis location. They got a Collierville location, also on Poplar Avenue, Germantown Parkway in Cordova, Goodman Road in Olive Branch. They can cater any size event you have. They'll start you out as low as $8.99 per person for that delicious slow-smoked barbecue. Lunch specials every day, party packs that start at just $7.49 for that delicious Q and the ribs, the barbecue nachos. They have great wings as well. My buddy loves their chicken wings. Cheese and sausage plates. Plus, if you want to go outside the barbecue family, they have an award-winning catfish plate. They have tamales. They even have burgers and amazing desserts. It's Corky's Ribs and Barbecue, open for lunch and dinner 7 days a week. Hour 2 of the program on the way. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
You know, sometimes I wish I had a gun.
Well, I'm armed, but before I bought one, I still went to Top Gun Academy to learn to protect myself without a gun.
How is that possible?
Top Gun's personal protection training. It's perfect if you want to protect yourself without firearms.
I don't know.
And it's perfect if you feel the need to carry a gun for self-defense, because the last thing you really want to do is shoot.
That is scary.
Not at Top Gun. It's very comfortable, and you learn to load, handle, and shoot a handgun safely. Protect yourself. Go to Top Gun Academy. They're at 2770 Witten Road.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
Are you really that different than the rest of us?
We are. As a fiduciary, we always focus on what's best for our clients.
What services do you offer besides investing?
We have a team of specialists in financial planning, estate planning, and more.
Your clients rely on you for all that?
Yes, we ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Okay, but you still sell commission-based products, right?
No, because we believe that's a conflict of interest. We prioritize service over sales goals.
So, then how do your fees work?
We have a simple and transparent fee that's a percentage of our clients' portfolios. So we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, we're more different than I thought.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at fisherinvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Sports and Mexican food, you can get the best of both at Los Cabos Mexican Bar and Grill on Summer near Grand. Watch all the big games on all the big TVs on all the walls at Los Cabos, and enjoy premium tequila shots anytime for just $5.50. Celebrate every day with lunch specials from 10 to 3 and happy hour from 3 to 8. Lunch is just $6.75 to $10.99 and margaritas start at $3.99. Experience real Mexican cuisine along with great sports at Los Cabos on Summer near Grand.
Jenkins Floors and More invite you to their retail warehouse where they pass wholesale savings on to you. Jenkins Floors in Little Rock, Cleveland, Mississippi, and now open in Horn Lake at 2356 West Goodman Road. Specializing in flooring and carpeting, tile, plantation shutters, and blinds, Jenkins makes your life easy with a 2-week turnaround. Contractors, builders, or family projects, call 662-469-9350 for a free estimate. Owners Timmy and Rebecca Jenkins say hello to Sports 56 fans and look forward to your business.
Ole Miss Rebel Yell is back. The Rebel Yell Hotline Radio Show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Yancey Porter with 24/7 Sports, former Ole Miss defensive tackle Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Ford covering SEC Sports Call, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Darby. From kickoff to free throw to extra innings, your Ole Miss Sports on the Rebel Yell Hotline Show right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56, 560 AM and 98.5 FM. Your Mid-South Sports Station.
This Sports 56 traffic report is brought to you by Luttrell Belting. They keep you moving.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. Still a bit of slow traffic over here on Sam Cooper coming inbound as they start up some construction work over here. Traffic's on the increase now, right on schedule actually on 40 West coming in from Fayette County into Shelby County, coming past 269 there at Chambers Chapel, trying to load up a bit. 385 Billmore Parkway leaving Collierville headed towards Memphis. Havenly Showers, your curbless shower specialist. Transform your bathroom with a tub. Curbless shower conversion. HavenlyShowers.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers.
Diamonds are forever.
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everyone. 8:02 the time. Hour 2 here on Sports 56 Mornings, the Friday, August 9th, 2024 edition. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, Zach Boyd, broadcasting live from the Family Leisure Studios. Family Leisure, where family and fun come together. 2120 Witten Road, just north of I-40. Currently 75 degrees. It's going to get up to 89 today. Sunny to partly cloudy skies is what they're calling for tonight. Clear skies with a low of 66. 66 is going to feel pretty darn good. It's actually been very, very nice the last few days. Weather-wise, it will start to heat up a little bit over the weekend and then into next week, just in time for the FedEx St. Jude Championship. Hour 2 of the program is brought to you each and every day by our friends at James Gaddis Jewelers, and every Monday and Friday they bring you the Memphis Sports Fact. Did you know? We were talking about Lausanne, we were talking about high school football. Former Lausanne star Eric Gray scored 2 touchdowns in last night's New York Giants preseason win over the Detroit Lions. He had 4 carries for 52 yards and 2 scores. He also caught 4 balls for 46 yards. Big night for Eric Gray, who is looking to kind of solidify himself as a second or third option in the backfield for the New York Giants, of course, who do not have Saquon Barkley anymore. So that certainly helped his cause. Great showing by the former Lausanne star. James Gaddis Jewelers, second-hour sponsor of Sports 56 Mornings. They are your family's jeweler. 4900 Poplar between Mendenhall and St. Nick, and on the web at GaddisJewelers.com. This weekend, if you get a chance, if you're in the market for jewelry, stop by James Gaddis Jewelers. They'll be happy to see you. Tell them you heard it here on Sports 56 Mornings. If you're looking for that special engagement ring, wedding ring, personally designed wedding sets, they have a variety of prices as well. James has a price point to suit everybody's budget. But if you're looking for a beautiful watch or bracelet, necklace, pendant, earrings, they have them for you as well. Fine gemstones, custom-made jewelry, and one-of-a-kind estate and vintage jewelry. 2 repair experts can help you with your fine watches and jewelry. Layaway and financing is available. James Gaddis Jewelers, 4900 Poplar between Mendenhall and St. Nick, on the web at GaddisJewelers.com. All right, let's get back into a little Olympic talk, kind of wrap it up, and then we'll get into some of the NFL. I mentioned the Eric Gray performance from last night. We'll take your calls and texts, obviously, on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener lines at 901-360-8255.
Matt texted in, he says, on Noah Lyles, he says, whether it affected him or not, I don't think really matters. When you're an athlete, you prepare for a race, you do the same thing every time. Just because you have COVID, you don't change your pregame routine or pre-race routine.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that he needed to change or anything. I'm just saying that I believe that he got beat fair and square, and you can't use that as an excuse. And afterwards, sure, he's going to be affected. No question about it. But I think he kind of enhanced the whole thing because he's probably a little bit embarrassed or upset or whatever the case may be that he ended up third. And a guy that was expected to battle for the gold, and he battled for the gold, certainly. But I love the guy. I love showmanship. I have no problem with what he did. And he knows when you talk the talk, you have to walk the walk. He did that with the 100. He didn't do it with the 200. And it just seemed like it's, easy to fall back on the I have COVID, even though, again, nothing says that there is an issue with whether or not he really tested positive. So, yes, he tested positive for COVID. It's going to affect you some way, somehow. But again, I think he kind of enhanced the whole thing after the race, after he had lost. I don't think it would have been the same if he had won the gold. I don't think you would have seen him laying on the ground. Well, then he would kind of drawing the attention to himself. He took away the attention from the runner that won the race.
If it didn't affect him, that he wouldn't have done it. But probably the reason he didn't win the gold is because it affected his running.
Well, maybe not. Let's not take anything away from the kid.
Nobody is taking away from that. It's just simple fact. I don't think the guy has a history of asthma and has COVID. I think running 200 meters, sprinting 200 meters, it probably had an effect on his performance.
And jumping around crazy before you start the race, I don't think helps you.
Whether it does or not, as Matt pointed out, that's what he does. That's what I said. That's what he does. He is going to do that. That's how he gets ready for a race.
Yeah, but there are times when you have to adjust in life.
You just said you don't think he should need to adjust.
No, did I say that? Well, I didn't mean that. If I said
right after I read the text, you said, I'm not saying he needed to change anything.
Well, he has to die. He has to bring it down a little bit. I'm not saying he can't come out there pumping his arms and being as excited because that's what gets him fired up. I'm saying jumping around like a jelly, like a jumping bean does not help you. He might have thought
yesterday he needed more than anything because he's like, I got COVID. I'm probably not going to run as good as I do. I needed more of this. I need to try and figure out some way to get the energy.
Whatever the case. All I know is at the end of the race, the attention was on him. The attention was not on the guy who won the gold.
Well, you're watching American television. Yes. The American star who goes down on the track, who was supposed to win gold, doesn't. They're going to wonder what happened to him.
American television with the English broadcaster. Okay. Don't get me started with that, too. Well,
you don't think they're going to focus more on the American guy who's down on the track?
Of course they are.
Than the guy from Botswana who won it?
Because he's down on the track. They certainly are.
So you don't think you think he was fine? He just did this because he lost?
I think he was affected, but I think he enhanced it. I absolutely do. 100%. Nothing's going to change my mind. And then he was back doing the interviews with Lewis Johnson with the mask on afterwards. He didn't have the mask on right before he started the race. He didn't have the mask on in the back of the track or the inside of the track where they were before the race when he said, I need some excitement. He
wasn't going to wear a mask out onto the track, but he'd been wearing a mask everywhere else.
Right. But boom, that was back on.
Yes, because he's going to do an interview. I'm sure Lewis Johnson probably said, you need to wear a mask.
Well, apparently it doesn't matter with COVID now. It doesn't matter. There's probably others have tested positive. You're allowed. It's your option now to continue to race or not. Now, he does say that he's probably not going to be racing anymore because he could be in the relays, but he's not. I don't think he's going to do that. The point is, there's people walking around without masks that have, I'm sure, tested positive for COVID. It's not the same as it was in 2020. So I don't know if Lewis Johnson would have had a problem if he was not wearing a mask doing the interview. I don't know. I haven't asked Lewis Johnson, and I won't have a chance to ask Lewis Johnson. But I think the whole thing was a little bit. It was right up his alley because he is a showman. His antics are going to be out there a little bit, good or bad. Again, don't have a problem with who he is as a showman. Okay, after he won the 100. Ripped off. You heard his reaction to everything he did. I was fine with that. He lost this one. Okay, the attention shouldn't be on him losing, but it was. The attention ended up being on him. He's always going to have the attention because that's who Noah Lyles is. Now, there are gold medal winners from yesterday for the United States that were a little bit different, a little bit more even keel with their personalities. And one was Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone, who won the 400-meter hurdles, did so in world record time, 50.37 seconds, and won by a mile. She is as impressive a track star as I've ever seen.
No, she is. She does not. She is untouchable in that event. It's just it is not even close. 6 different times she set a world record. She hasn't lost, since 2019 or whatever. There is no chance for anybody against her. And when she came off that turn, I was like, oh my gosh, she could basically trip over a hurdle and still get up and I think still win the race. She's that far in front of people.
I know. I was so impressed with her. I've been so impressed with the personal stories, the personalities of these athletes. Just seem like really cool, down-to-earth, good people with their backstories. I think NBC's done a great job in telling those stories. I mean, quite frankly, I didn't know a lot about the history of these track stars. And I think we're all the better for it, having watched it and having been able to learn more about these stars, these whatever field it may be that are representing this country. Another one being Tara Davis Woodhall, who won the gold in the long jump. Just how she was able to get the crowd, like the slow clap, turning into the large clap.
Sure, Varlas hated it.
Oh, yeah?
But before she performed, she was doing something to get the crowd going.
Oh, John hated it? Okay. Probably. He probably did, but I loved it. I loved everything about her as well. I mean, I talked about before Gabby Thomas. Just incredibly impressed. And we have had unbelievable track stars over the years and some of the biggest names ever in sports. You know, when you think about like a Carl Lewis or a Flo Jo, Florence Griffith Joyner. But this team of athletes with the track and field, I've been so impressed with.
I mean, again, we're incredible in track and field. I mean, Grant Holloway yesterday in the 110-meter hurdles, he was really impressive. Really, the only thing he hadn't done is won at the Olympics because he had the heartbreak back in Tokyo. He gets it done. This morning, we had the 16-year-old run in the 4x4. Now, he did not run very well. He was like 3 seconds, almost 3 seconds off of his best time. But our men did advance in the 4x400. Actually, it was pretty close. They almost did not advance, but they did advance. But again, I can't even imagine as a 16-year-old. And he was running the first leg. So you're just out there like, that has to be just the
heart pounding,
craziest thing ever. Like, I can imagine you're probably not going to perform your best. I can't imagine the nerves and everything else thinking, all right, I got to run this, and then I have to make sure I get this baton passed cleanly. Like I at 16 years old, I would be freaking out in that situation.
You never know because you don't know what will happen in life. But at 16, you think about how many different Olympiads this kid could be participating in if things go right. He stays healthy. He's going to even get bigger and faster more than likely. Yeah, that's incredibly impressive. Anything else that stands out from yesterday, and then we'll kind of talk about today?
Nothing else from you. So Matt did ask when the gold medal basketball game is. The gold medal basketball game is tomorrow afternoon at 2:30. 2:30 will be the gold medal game for USA versus France. USA is a 16-point favorite in that. But no, it was...
what else do we have left in team competition? In any sport, what do we have left? The volleyball?
Women's soccer plays for the gold tomorrow at 11 a.m. Or that's 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. It might be 11 a.m. Eastern. I can't remember. That's either at 10 or 11 tomorrow is the soccer gold medal game. Our men's water polo is playing right now in a semifinal game against Serbia. Our women's water polo team lost yesterday in a shootout, which I don't understand how goalies could ever possibly make a stop in a shootout in water polo. You're doggy paddling in front of this big goal and have to try and make a move. Although their goalie did finally stop one of ours, and that's what won it for Australia yesterday. But the women will still will play for the bronze.
Did you see the shootout in the? First of all, it freaked me out when I saw men playing field hockey. I had no idea. My wife goes, she played field hockey in high school. She goes, men play field hockey? I go, apparently they do. And it's in the Olympics, and they had a shootout. And I'm thinking of these guys, they have to have a bad back. They're all hunched over with that little tiny stick, and the dudes are blasting it in a shootout. It was like Norway and maybe the Netherlands. I don't know.
But the women's soccer is at 10 a.m. tomorrow. So they're at 10. The basketball's at 2:30 tomorrow.
So women's soccer. Now, the volleyball, beach volleyball, we're done.
Yeah, we've got the women's volleyball. I'm not sure when that gold medal game is.
Okay. But we still have a number.
That should be today, I would think.
Number of team competition still in the hunt for medals, and then of course individuals in other sports.
And then today you've got the both 4x100 relays are today. The women and the men are both today. The women are first. I think the women are like sometime around noon, and then the men are sometime a little after 1, something like that in the 4x100s. Obviously no Noah Lyles now for the men in that, but we're still, I assume, I don't know if we're the favorite or not, but certainly one of the favorites, if not the favorite, and the women are the favorite in their 4x100 as well. And I was mistaken the other day. Today, I do know officially, breakdancing today happens.
What did you prematurely say it was yesterday?
No, I said the other day that I thought it was starting. I think it was on Wednesday. I said that I thought it started that day, but it did not. Today is breakdancing. Making its debut.
Can't wait. Can't wait for some breakdancing. Closing ceremonies, of course, will be on Sunday. All right. Football. Ryan Silverfield made an appearance on Paul Feinbaum's show and had a lot to say. This is an interesting quote. Talking about the group of five. And I'm sure, look, Ryan is not going to turn down an interview, especially a national interview, when you, in the case of Paul Feinbaum, who is a Memphian, you find your way into SEC country. It's always good. Great exposure for the university and for the program. So Ryan's going to say yes, but I can guarantee you that Ryan is probably tired of talking about the group of five representative in the playoff, although it is reality. So he was asked about that. He said, I believe the winner of this conference, meaning the American, certainly should go to the playoff regardless of what occurs in other conferences. What do you think about that quote?
That's what the Eddie head coach out of the American Conference should say.
What about reality? What do you say?
It depends how many losses that champion has versus others. I mean, if it's a 4-loss champion, then probably not.
Right, but what about if it's even Steven? Does the American, again, it's going to be up to the committee and where they place them in the rankings. But how does a 1-loss make it a 2-loss Boise State, 1 to Oregon and 1 loss within the conference, and a 2-loss Memphis, 1 loss to Florida State, 1 loss within the conference? How does that match up? How do they match that up? You got to look at the conference's strength. And I'm not going to sit here and say I really have dissected the Mountain West at this point, but I think overall with UTSA, Tulane, the emergence of South Florida, they are on the rise, that I think the American has a little bit of a better overall conference than the Mountain West. But the Mountain West does have some teams that are capable. In fact, Barry Odom's UNLV running Rebels, the Rebs, have become a much better team under his leadership, really good defensive team. Air Force is certainly a team to be reckoned with. We'll see about like a Fresno State, but other than that, I think it's weak. But then again, with the American, who knows if Navy can ever get close to what they once were? Where is UAB and North Texas should probably take a step back. UAB, you would think, would take a step forward. But I think with the top 4 versus, and of course Army now in the conference, no slouch, the top 4 of the American is better than the top 4 of the Mountain West. But I don't know how the committee will see it. Then, of course, you have the whole deal with these other conferences, whether it's CUSA, whether it's the Sun Belt, whether it's the MAC. Does somebody roll through it undefeated?
I mean, I think the committee has shown that they have a lot of respect for the American Conference. In the number of times they've been the representative from the group of 5 in the New Year's 6 bowl games, I think the committee understands that the American Conference is the best of the group of 5 conferences. And so if there's a 1-loss champion out of the American Athletic Conference, especially if that 1 loss is to Florida State or UTSA plays Texas or who the UTSA plays? I think they play Texas or somebody big, or if it's whoever it is. Like if it's and they go undefeated in the American Athletic Conference, I think they will, in all likelihood, be the representative. Now, if Boise beats Oregon and goes undefeated, well, that's tough to bat.
All bets are off.
So you don't. But if Boise loses to Oregon and then runs through the Mountain West, and say Memphis loses to Florida State and runs through the American Athletic Conference, I think Memphis would probably get the spot over Boise.
UTSA plays at Texas, as you said. The week before, though, they play at Texas State. Texas State could give them a problem. Their other 2 are gimmies, Kennesaw State and Houston Christian. Tulane plays at Oklahoma. We talked with Corey Glore, the voice of Tulane, recently. They play at Oklahoma on September 14th. Their other non-conference games include Kansas State at home on September 7th. They got Southeastern Louisiana to open the season on August 29th, and they're at Louisiana, which may not be a cakewalk, but probably a dub. But Kansas State and Oklahoma with Tulane. And, of course, the Tigers at Florida State and Troy, but Troy comes in here. So, yes, there's challenges for all these teams in the American that are expected to be at the top. USF has to go to Tuscaloosa. Now, last year, they gave Alabama fits in Tampa. And that's when you said, oh, here we go. Maybe Alex Golish has this team doing something, and I think they did. And I think they ended up 7-6, if I'm not mistaken, 4-4 in the conference. But I think they are definitely on the rise. They also play Miami. So think about that. Unless there's an upset, USF will probably lose those two. I'm not saying they couldn't beat Miami at home. They could. But they will probably be the underdog against Miami, even at home. They'll be the underdog at Alabama. You lose those two, that's 2 losses. I mentioned Tulane. Again, Kansas State at home. Kansas State's going to be good. At Oklahoma, again, on paper, they should lose those 2 games. UTSA at Texas will lose. Memphis at Florida State will be certainly the underdog in that one. That'll be tough to win. But then does UTSA lose one at Texas State? And if that's the case, then you have the 3 that are up there with Memphis, at least preseason, that would all have 2 non-conference losses and already be way behind the 8 ball if somebody else in another conference is running the gamut, going undefeated, or if Boise State certainly pulls the upset over Oregon, then all bets are off.
Well, how do these? There's a different, if say Memphis has a loss to Florida State, did they lose 35-28 or did they lose 56-0? I mean, all of these, you want these teams from the American, if they lose these games, you don't want it to be every one of them's a 40-point blowout. That doesn't look good for the conference. If you're competitive in those games, you may lose every single one of them. But if you're somewhat competitive, well, that looks a heck of a lot better for the conference than if you're getting killed. Same thing with Boise. Does Boise lose to Oregon 45-38, or do they lose to Oregon 45-3? I mean, there's those games, those losses, any of those games, a loss is not going to be equal. It's going to be how do you perform in that loss when the committee's looking at it and trying to decide between those teams and those conferences of who they believe the better conference is. Because in the end, they'll probably basically be deciding who's the better conference to decide whose champion is going to advance.
Well, I agree. And these are human beings behind closed doors, and they're going to look at these games. They're going to look at all the games, the total resume, or at least that's what they're supposed to do. And again, as a human being and not a machine, not some computer, you're going to look and go, oh, man, they lost that game 45-3. But yet margin of victory in the criteria, is that even part of it? Like, technically, is it part of it when they look at these rankings? Like, all these computer rankings that come out as well, do they consider margin of victory?
Some do, some don't.
Yeah, but when you're human beings behind closed doors looking at all the criteria, it's just, it makes sense that you're going to look at something and go, all right, these guys were good, they finished strong, but what about that game on September 21st when they lost 45-10? We have to give that heavy consideration.
I mean, if you're the American Conference, you want, and they wouldn't say this, but really you want if those 4 teams are truly the 4 teams, you don't want them to lose to any one of the other teams in the conference.
Right.
You want all of them to win every other game. Nobody take a bad loss and then sort themselves out amongst themselves, and that at the end is going to look better, because if you have a win over a 9-win Tulane team or a 10-win Tulane team, or you have a win over a 8 or 9-win USF team or an 8 or 9-win UTSA, it's a hell of a lot better than have a win over a 7-win UTSA or a 7-win or 6-win South Florida.
And that comes down to the schedule in the conference, which is not favorable for Memphis. First of all, UTSA, Tulane, South Florida, they don't play all of the teams. Memphis plays all of the teams and plays all of the teams on the road. That's why, to me, as long as Memphis is not a 4-loss, I don't know how you can be a 4-loss conference champion, but even a 3-loss conference champion, and then let's say Liberty, which, again, they won't fall for it again, the committee, but if they're undefeated versus a 3-loss team, they're not going to take the 3-loss team. But for Memphis, again, you're going to have to be nearly perfect. You can afford a loss to one of those teams on the road, I would think, and still be able to beat the other two and get into the conference championship game, win that game, and then I think you're going to be in great shape. Even with a loss to Florida State, that would be 2 overall.
Well, if you're Memphis, if you do lose one of the games, you hope you get that team in the championship game and beat them in the rematch.
Right. But if you lose 2 of those games out of the three big boys that are with you in the preseason poll at the top, you're done. You might not even make the conference championship game. And you would see somebody like UTSA and Tulane or even a South Florida, if they're able to have the season that I think they are capable of having, playing in the championship game. That's the challenge for Memphis. But Memphis, in my opinion, has the superior talent. They are a more well-rounded, deeper team than any team in this conference with a 4-year starting quarterback. So, yes, even though the schedule makers did not do them any favors, they have the goods to get it done. They're just going to have to go and do yeoman's work on the road to get to where they want to be.
Guns, guns, and more guns. That's what you'll find at Classic Arms of Memphis. Over 700 firearms in stock, whatever it is you're looking for, from handguns to shotguns to rifles or whatever. If you're looking for new guns, if you're looking for used guns, whatever. Maybe you're looking to buy, heck, maybe you're looking to sell, maybe you're looking to trade. Well, at Classic Arms, they do it all. So you could go on in there and see UTJ and the entire gang, and they will take good care of you. They got all the top brand names, and again, an amazing selection. Not only the guns, but ammo and any other supplies like gun safes and gun cases and everything else that you need. They've got that for you as well at Classic Arms. They do free gun inspections. They do free gun appraisals, free bore sighting as well. It's all at Classic Arms, 1740 Germantown Parkway, right behind Corky's in Cordova. That's where you'll find them. You can also find them online and shop 24/7 at classicarmsofmemphis.com. So whatever it is that you're looking for in the world of guns and ammo and anything else, go see the folks at Classic Arms.
We've got more college football news to get to. Also, NFL preseason, the games from last night. And golf loses a legend. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
About insurance and you want great value without sacrificing great service, I want you to think one place: the Eflin Insurance and the entire Eflin Insurance team. Matt and his group of professionals will access 10 leading companies to find the right home and auto program that fits your budget and your absolute needs. The Eflin Insurance team, the number 386-GER, 386-4777.
At Blue Cross Blue Shield of Tennessee, they're proud to be here for their neighbors while giving back to communities across the state throughout the year, every year. This month, they're honored to stand alongside 1,600 dedicated volunteers as they make this year's annual FedEx St. Jude Golf Tournament fundraiser a resounding success. Giving back to St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital, which helps treat and defeat childhood cancer, is a meaningful effort that is very close to their hearts. This year, their goal is to reach $3 million in donations for kids at St. Jude's, and they couldn't do it without the support of their amazing volunteers. To all the participants, thank you for being a part of this most important endeavor to lift up so many families across the state from right here in Memphis, Tennessee. To read more about Team Blue volunteers, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Tennessee, Healthy Places, and other ways they're devoted to helping our communities, please visit bcbst.com.
The light is fading, your hands are sore, and the last tool's been put away. Now's the time to feel the satisfaction that comes with a job well done. But when you get your tools from Harbor Freight, something about the job feels a little different. Your wallet. Because we believe that everyone deserves hard-working tools at hard-working prices. And that's what we have here. So, whatever you do it for us at Harbor Freight.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. For nearly 2 decades, we
867-0303 or visit us online at
Is your vehicle stopping like it should? Does it squeal or grind when you brake? Don't miss out on summer brake deals at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers.
Don't you just love it?
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everyone. 8:33 is the time. Halfway home on this Friday edition of Sports 56 Mornings. Got a little more college football news. We'll get into some NFL here in just a moment as well. But our friend Brad Logan, friend of the show, had an interview with Keith Carter, the Ole Miss AD, also friend of the show. And Keith Carter told Brad that Ole Miss is preparing to allocate $20 to $22 million beginning next season for revenue sharing for student athletes. That's the number that we have heard. Nothing yet has come down concrete as far as exactly this is what you can. You don't have to. You don't have to provide $20 million or what. It's your call. But revenue sharing is going to be a part of collegiate sports. And again, the number we've heard is 22. Sometimes we've heard 20. That's going to be that number. And it looks like Ole Miss and Keith Carter are ready and prepared for revenue sharing.
Yeah, it's for those Power Four. Like, you better be ready.
Don't you think there could be some of those schools that, even though they are participating in a major conference, a power conference, that may not be ready for
I'm sure
20 to 22 million?
The Vanderbilts of the world probably be difficult, but I mean, if you're trying to compete to win championships, you better be ready.
I wonder what type of, as we know, there is a vast difference between the money brought in with the media contracts with the Power 5, Power 4, and the Group of 5. How much of a difference do you think it will be when it comes to revenue sharing money that's allocated? Do you think it will be 2 to 1? In other words, 20 to 22 from the Power 5 schools, or most of them, 10 to 11 from other schools, and even less? How much of a divide do you think there will be? What's your guess?
There'll be a huge divide. I'm sure there are some Group of 5 schools that, it'd be very tough for them to do anything. I mean, you're talking about like Conference USA schools and MAC schools. Like, they don't have that money. They don't have money to do that. And there's just nothing. And there will be some in the Group of 5 that I'm sure are fine to do. I don't know if anybody will get to 20 million, but I'm sure there'll be some in the Group of 5. And within conferences, the separations will be big, probably. But it's just, but yeah, I mean, the bottom of the Group of 5, like, I would imagine there's schools that just won't be able to do it. Like, we don't have money to do this.
Will that mean the end of the football program? Eventually?
I don't know if it, I mean, there will still be, I mean, there's still enough kids that want to play college football that you're going to get kids that will take scholarships and will play for you.
But even though the talent right now there's a big difference in talent, it's still, you're producing NFL players at the Group of 5 level. Certainly you're producing some at 1AA and Division II, but very rarely. I'm saying if the division's even worse and you're not handing out revenue sharing money, the caliber athlete you get is going to be really low, in the sense that everybody who has a chance to be a starter, even a solid backup on a 2-deep, they're going to go where they get paid, whether it's full share at a Power 5 school or whether it's less at Group of 5 schools that can afford it. But those who can't, you just wonder about the future. Yeah, they may get people, student athletes, to want to play the sports, but the caliber of that athlete is going to be so minimal that I don't know if they'll be able to survive long term in at least FBS football as we know it. It'll be quite interesting to see what happens. Also, with the start of college football coming up rapidly, ESPN has a new open for their college football games, and the artists that will be the music of Jelly Roll will be the artists that will be featured. And here's what it will sound like.
It is back. The most electrifying thing.
Welcome to a new era of college football.
I light every bridge I see here just to watch it burn. If you've seen all the hell I've seen, it make your stomach turn. I think you know.
We introduced the next head football coach.
We got a potential superstar on our hands.
We ain't coming no more.
We back. This place is gonna rock. I could tell some stories about some things you won't believe.
4 teams to 12.
College football is completely different.
We're going to see a lot of unexpected things happen.
I might hurt a little. I might work a lot. Counting down the good times. Staring down the clock. Throw some hallelujahs to the big man in the sky. Show him Sunday morning looking just like last night. Yeah, that's how I get by.
So there you go, Jelly Roll, the artist. Sounds like a pretty good song. I love how they snuck in a little Stephen A. Smith somehow into that open, but they're always going to do that. And there you go. That's the open for ESPN college football this season.
The thing on the with the revenue sharing, on the thing you have to remember too is with the roster limits that are going to be in place. I mean, there are plenty of kids to fill rosters. Yeah, again, but Conference USA is already not getting anything close to those. But you're wiping some kids that would be at Alabama out, and the walk-ons at Alabama would be scholarship players at other places anyway. Probably a lot of cases. So you're taking kids off of all these rosters, and now they have to go somewhere to play college football.
Well, there'll be a trickle-down effect, no question about it. But you go from 85 to 105 scholarships. It's just that you can only have 105 players. So you're right. So the 106 through 120 or whatever the case may be, they'll look to go somewhere else and probably will be a scholarship player and making money through revenue sharing somewhere else, and it will trickle down. But I'm still sticking to my guns that the quality of the players at the lower level will not be as strong as it is, because at every school you're able to get at least 1 or 2 players that you would consider that they could make a Power 5 roster, right? Even the smallest of the group of 5 have a few players that are going to make runs at the NFL. The University of Memphis has a number of players that can play at just about any school and can play in the National Football League. Memphis will have revenue sharing. I just don't know how much it will be. I'm talking about those schools that will not provide any revenue sharing because they can't financially. How will they able to sustain the football program with the caliber of the player will certainly drop down to about as low as it could be. I mean, they're still good ball players, don't get me wrong, but we're talking about those that would be walk-ons at group of 5 schools. Those would basically make up most, if not the entire roster of a school that would fit into the category I'm talking about. Because anybody
But those schools are already, they're already way below. Like
they're already way below, but I think
there's
they'll
not
be
much that's going to change for them. And they might, some of those places, you might get kids who go to whatever, Alabama, using Alabama as the example, because of revenue sharing, or go to an SEC or Big Ten school or whatever because of revenue sharing, but they're the 95th guy on the roster, and they're there for a couple of years, and now say, okay, now I've made some money. Now I need to go play to try and audition and show that I can actually play and continue my career in the NFL. I got to be able to play somewhere. And so they look at those plays. They're like, I know I can walk in the door right now and be the starter without a problem. And so they pick up transfers coming down from these schools that just want to go say, I need a couple of years of game film.
Right, but I still think that, and that could very well happen, but I think that those players will end up going to a group of 5 school that actually does do a little revenue sharing where they can make some money. The almighty dollar still controls everything, where they can make some money and still get that tape out. Now, if there are no options, they drop down to a place that doesn't have the revenue sharing because they need to play and need to get the tape. So, there'll be some that'll trickle down. It is the trickle-down effect, no question about it. All right, when we come back, we're going to talk some NFL preseason games last night, including some performances from local and regional players who got their opportunity last night. And the golf world loses a legendary name. We'll tell you about that when we return. Right now, I want to tell you about Dinstall's. Dinstall's fine candies and chocolates for over 122 years. They've been putting smiles on people's faces. They've been making those delectables. It's just every time I say it, it still blows me away. At 122 years and counting. So I was talking to Becky Dinstall via text this morning. She said, hey, make sure they know that they are running out of time to get the chocolate-covered blackberries. It's your last chance for that delicious Dinstall's chocolate covering those scrumptious blackberries. Of course, you have all the other chocolate-covered fruits like the strawberries, the grapes, the pineapples as well, covered with that Dinstall's rich milk chocolate. Also, don't forget something I talked about last week, that divinity, just like your grandmother made, which is just fabulous. I didn't know a lot about it. I learned more about what it is. It's got marshmallow in it. It is got a big old pecan on the top. I'm looking at a picture right now, and I've never had one, but it looks like it's absolutely delicious. The chocolate-covered pretzels, the chocolate-covered cashews, the cashew crunch, it's all there available for you at Dinstall's Fine Candies and Chocolates with 5 convenient locations. They're on Laurelwood, which is in East Memphis. Pleasant View, that's where the factory is located, where they make the candies. Germantown, Collierville, and downtown Memphis. It's Dinstall's Fine Candies and Chocolates, again, for over 122 years and counting.
Serbia will get their revenge. They beat us in water polo.
Damn Serbs.
So I wonder if Bogdanovic is in the crowd.
They served us.
Yelling at Carmelo right now. Take that, Carmelo. Take that, LeBron. We beat you in water polo. So the U.S. men and women, both in water polo, will have to play for bronze after the women lost yesterday and the men lose today in the semifinals.
Where else do you get water polo updates but right here on Sports 56? You're tuned in to Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 98.5 FM.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
If you love sports and Mexican food, you can get the best of both at Los Cabos Mexican Bar and Grill on Summer near Graham. Watch all the big games and all the big TVs on all the walls at Los Cabos. And enjoy premium tequila shots anytime for just $5.50. Celebrate every day with lunch specials from 10 to 3 and happy hour from 3 to 8. Lunch is just $6.75 to $10.99 and margaritas start at $3.99. Experience real Mexican cuisine along with great sports at the Los Cabos on Summer near Graham.
Superchargers, headlights, and more. With over 122 million parts, eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Stay on your A game with all the parts you need at the prices you want. It's easy to bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. I'm here at Town Village Audubon Park interviewing a new resident, Carolyn. Share with us why you chose Town Village.
Well, if your parents or special friends need to make that big move, let me share with you my experience. It was tough for me to leave home, but then I discovered Town Village. I would like to highly recommend Town Village to you and your loved ones. After looking at all the amenities and meeting all the people and staff, I was hooked. From restaurant, bistro, 3 meals per day, housekeeping, transportation, security, health care, physical therapy, conference room, and even a heated pool and spa. Come see us and make your new home in Town Village.
Visit us and call Daniel at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home, Town Village.
Summertime's finally here, and that means it's time to party. Lucky for you, Family Leisure is having a summertime to party sale. Now, what's all included in this party sale? Practically everything. 24-foot above ground pools for as little as $19.99. All ladders, filter systems, and even robotic cleaners are 20% off. Come in and look at all of the in-stock patio furniture Family Leisure has. Plus, it's up to 50% off. Play gyms for the kids, that's $1,000 off. Patio umbrellas, take 20% off. You can get a 4-person hot tub for just under $3,000. We know you're really going to just use it for yourself. Family Leisure has discounted pricing on all in-stock pool toys and floats while the supplies last, so you better get in quick. Plus, Family Leisure has special financing available. Just ask an associate for all the details. Summertime means party time, and Family Leisure is ready for any party. Family Leisure, Winton Road at I-40, where family and fun all come together.
It's Wrangler season out there. Warmer days, cooler nights. Open roads, endless horizons. And you need to be ready in jeans made for the unpredictable. Wrangler, for the ride of life. Shop our newest styles today at Wrangler.com.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers.
To reveal the full spectrum of its dazzling color.
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
One of the great showmen in golf history, Chichi Rodriguez, has passed away at the age of 88. What a great life he led. What a fun golfer to watch. I had a chance early in my television career to do a sit-down interview with Chichi Rodriguez at a golf course. I want to find that photo. I got it somewhere of me and Chichi. Just a delightful man, very humorous, always dropping jokes and one-liners. But again, a guy from Puerto Rico that made it big. You know, he wasn't one of the greatest players, but he was certainly one of the greatest personalities. The swashbuckling Chichi Rodriguez. He won 8 PGA Tour events, dies at the age of 88.
I can't. Every time I think of Chichi Rodriguez, I think of WKRP in Cincinnati and Les Nessman. I have to think to say Chichi because I want to say Chai Chai.
Chai Chai.
Just because
Rodriguez, how do you say it?
Chai Chai Rodriguez.
Yeah.
It's one of the greatest. I will. That thing is emblazoned in my brain that I literally, when I see the name Chichi Rodriguez, I read it Chai Chai Rodriguez. And I have to think to say it correctly.
Yeah, I was actually the opposite. I was trying to think of what the joke was. I knew it was Chai Chai. I didn't know how they said the last name, but I forgot it was Les Nessman.
It's
WKRP.
I love that. I mean, it's just that. It made me laugh every time. And Johnny Fever had to tell him.
Speaking of golf, the first round of the Wyndham Championship was postponed yesterday and still hasn't gotten underway, I don't believe, has it?
No, with that tropical storm, it's not going to be easy. They're dealing with some things.
Debbie doing her thing. Where's the Wyndham's in North Carolina?
Yes, I believe North. I don't. What's the name of the course?
Tropical Storm Debbie. Debbie does North Carolina. So anyway, the Wyndham is delayed. That's not good. You certainly don't want to have a Monday finish, but more than likely you will. Because players are either going to come to Memphis by staying in the top 70, or players are going to earn their spots in the top 70 to come play in Memphis next week in the FedEx St. Jude Championship. So this is an extremely important event for a number of the golfers right there on the cut line.
Yeah, they say they are going to get it underway 8:50. They actually should have just gotten it underway. It was supposed to tee. Now that the new time was 8:50 Central Time this morning that they were supposed to get it underway. So should have just teed off as long as everything is good to go.
But still, you expect a Monday finish, right?
I don't know what the weather. I guess if they get some really good weather, over the next 2 days, maybe they can figure out some way to get it in, but it's not going to be easy. And especially if they get, I don't know if all that storm is completely moved out of there and it's supposed to be good for the next couple of days or what, but you get, it would be very difficult, I would think, to get it all in, but they might be able to with this time of year with the amount of daylight that we have.
Shams reporting that the games are going to be or games are set rather for the NBA on Christmas Day, and those teams that will participate, the usual cast of characters, although a few exceptions. The Spurs are in there with Victor Wembanyama taking on the Knicks. Again, this is according to Shams. The Minnesota Timberwolves and the Dallas Mavericks, the 76ers and the defending world champion Celtics, the Lakers and the Golden State Warriors, the Denver Nuggets and the Phoenix Suns. So the Grizzlies will not be playing on Christmas Day, according to this report.
Well, yeah, I thought they were going to play on Christmas Day this year. No, I think if they have the type of year this year that they're capable of, then they will be back on Christmas Day following season, possibly. But, no real surprises as far as those. I believe the full NBA schedule is supposed to be out next week. I think late next week, if I'm not mistaken. We should have the NBA schedule, the Grizzlies schedule, but I'm not positive on that. But yeah, there was the only question on these was like, who are the Celtics going to play?
Right.
And
Lakers, of course, are going to be on there.
Who are the Lakers going to play? Those types of things. But yeah, you could pretty much guess
Knicks
within. There may have been one or two spots. You go, okay, like you wonder, like, has Oklahoma City done enough possibly to earn a spot on there? But they haven't. That probably would have been like the Spurs spot, but they're gonna, with Wembanyama, they're gonna play to that.
I really thought it was going to be the Pistons and the Jazz. I'm very, very surprised about that. Joel Embiid hinted at playing for either Team USA or Cameroon in the next Olympics. Sorry, France. But when we were talking to DeMichael Cole on Wednesday, we were going over the roster and who we expected to be back and who would play in 2028 in L.A. We didn't say Embiid, correct? We didn't bring him up.
No.
So it's interesting. He says it has been a great experience with USA Basketball in Paris, and Paris is a great city. Obviously, the next games are in L.A., so whether I'll be playing for USA or maybe even Cameroon at that time, who knows? We'll see. So he could be a factor as one that we didn't even include on our list. Anthony Becht, who's the coach of the St. Louis Battlehawks in the UFL, is now going to be doing some work in the fall into the winter because he has been named the analyst for the New York Jets radio broadcasts, as Marty Lyons has announced he will not be doing any broadcasting this year. I'm not sure if he actually announced his retirement, but Marty Lyons had been radio analyst for the Jets for well over 2 decades, I think 22, 23 years. So Anthony Becht will work with the Jets broadcast and, of course, I'm sure come back as the Battlehawks head coach. When we come back, hour 3 of the program, Matt Infield will join us. We'll talk some Tigers football, maybe some Olympics as well, and some other things with the Action News 5 reporter and anchor. We'll have 10 in a row, the game show that has swept the nation. We'll talk some NFL. There were a couple of preseason games last night, some local interest and regional interest in some of the players that participated. Also 3 games on the docket for tonight, so we'll get to that as well. Jenkins Floors and More about to be our third hour sponsor here on Sports 56 Mornings because it's almost the third hour. But as you know by now, they specialize in flooring and carpeting. They're located at 2356 Goodman Road in Horn Lake. They have 2 locations aside from the Horn Lake location. That's in Cleveland, Mississippi, if you're down in that area, or Little Rock, Arkansas. And they do an outstanding job in giving you an incredible price because they sell it wholesale. They skip the middleman and save you lots of money in the process. And they will come to you. They will give you a free estimate. They'll do the job in a 2-week turnaround, which is really unheard of. Now, if you don't want Jenkins to do the job for you, that you want to do it yourself, or you want to have contractors out there that are looking to buy the flooring and buy the carpeting, they can do so and then take care of it themselves. And like I said, they're going to save a lot of money because they sell it wholesale. So check out Jenkins Floors and More. Give them a call, 662-469-9350, open Monday through Saturday. That's Jenkins Floors and More. Financing is available. Or go see them in Horn Lake at 2356 Goodman Road. When we come back, Hour 3, this is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Top Gun is the largest indoor range in the Mid-South, but size isn't their only difference. Top Gun has the best instructors with over 300 years combined experience and classes all the way from first shot to master marksmanship. Plus, Top Gun is affordable. Gold membership is just $48 a month. That's just $1.60 a day for unlimited range time. Free gun rentals with purchase of ammo and members lounge access. Top Gun 2770 Whitten Road and TopGunMemphis.com. Always shoot with the best. Top Gun Memphis.
When the weather gets better, I found a new place to really soak it in. It's the patio at the Commissary in Collierville. We all love the delicious Memphis-style barbecues. You can begin your barbecue fest with some great appetizers like the cheese plate or the tamales or the barbecue nachos. Oh, those smoked chicken wings, they're terrific too. Then dig into the ribs or the barbecue shoulder. Get it chopped or pulled on a sandwich. A big sandwich, or you can get it on a plate. You've got choice, and you've got choice in places. Don't forget the Germantown Commissary as well. Comes with beans and slaw, deviled eggs they're famous for, and Brad, you can even order by the pound, a 6-pack or an 8-pack or even a 12-pack. The Boss Man salad, the chicken plate, the barbecue shrimp. There's something for everybody, and those great desserts. The best icebox lemon pie anywhere. Or my favorite, the banana pudding. Check out the patio, TVs for sports, and music on the weekends. You love the Commissary.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up. I've already made around $200-$300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code TURN to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code TURN for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code TURN for a 25 cents per gallon bonus. East Memphis Ace Hardware is more than just a hardware store. It's really a customer service store with 20 employees along with complete inventory of items. Big to little, finding what you need is easy. Choosing from a complete selection of Big Green Egg as well as Traeger and River Grills. And the Garden Center has everything for your yard. You can get glass cut, repair screens, get new keys with key fob programming. Tools, nuts, bolts, screws. You need it. East Memphis Ace Hardware has it. And they're just down the street at the corner of Ritz and White Station.
You or someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North Mississippi. Rice Law is who you need to call. Simple or difficult divorce, they know how to handle it. Call Rice Law at 901-526-6701, or for more information, visit them at aboutdivorce.com. That's aboutdivorce.com.
Memphis, the playoffs are back. Come see the PGA Tour's best compete for the trophy at the FedEx St. Jude Championship, August 14th through 18th. Witness the drama as 70 players arrive in Memphis and only 50 move on. Tickets are on sale now at FedExChampionship.com.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. Still a little bit of volume over here as they clean up an accident on eastbound Walnut Grove just past Briarview. Also putting the final touches on that crash at Winchester and Emerald. It's not too bad actually right now on 51 southbound as you work your way down out of Millington. Just a little bit of volume on Austin B Highway, especially trying to get up on that ramp there to I-40. Havenly Showers, your curbless shower specialist. Transform your bathroom with a tub curbless shower conversion. HavenlyShowers.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Welcome back, everyone. 9:02 the time. Final hour for us this week here on Sports 56 Mornings. It's the Friday, August 9th, 2024 edition. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, Zach Boyd with you from the Family Leisure Studios. Family Leisure, it's where family and fun come together. 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. Check them out this weekend. The world's biggest spa sale is going on. Currently 77 degrees. It will get up to 88 today. Mainly sunny to start, then a few afternoon clouds. And tonight looks like it's mostly clear. 66 degrees. Saturday should be really nice. Sunday as well. Mid-80s is what they're calling for. They'll start to heat up midweek next week, just in time for the FedEx St. Jude Championship. As I mentioned, hour 3 of the program brought to you by Jenkins Floors and More. Again, 3 locations. Go see them at 2356 Goodman Road in Horn Lake. They're also in Cleveland, Mississippi, and in Little Rock, Arkansas. Give them a call at 662-469-9350. Great family, great service. Ask about your family discount by being a Sports 56 listener at Jenkins Floors and More. Time now to talk to our friend Matt Infield, the Action News 5 reporter anchor. You can follow him on Twitter at Matt_Infield. And Matt joins us now on Sports 56 Mornings. Got you up, Matt. How are you, my friend?
The only crew in Memphis I'll wake up before 9 o'clock on a Friday for. How are you guys?
Hey, look, being in television as long as I was, local television, I know how tough it is, so I do appreciate it. So let me ask you this. I'll start off with the negative. What concerns you the most going into this Tigers football season with all the accolades, with all the hype? What are your biggest concerns?
I don't know if I would call them concerns. I have not even like questions, but like serious questions about the offensive line. I'm just genuinely concerned about, or not concerned. I'm curious what it looks like because actually we talked with Jeff Myers, the offensive line coach, yesterday, and I asked him about the depth at this point this year compared to last year. He was like, "Well, last year we were just trying to figure out like who our best 5 were, period." And He said this year he feels like they have 7 or 8 guys who could start, which is good, obviously, but obviously the biggest question mark there is you lose your center, your anchor, Jacob Blanks. And who had great chemistry with Seth Hennigan, and also is obviously the one making a lot of calls on the offensive line. So I don't know if that's really like necessarily a concern. I'm just curious to see how it plays out. Defensively, I would say maybe what does the secondary beyond like a Greg Rubin look like? Because at times last year that was something that maybe could be exposed. And I'm also curious how this new scheme under Jordan Hankins and Spence Nowinski kind of plays out because, if you remember the bowl game, it was very, very kind of linebacker heavy. And I'm curious how that plays out over the course of a whole season. So I don't know if I'm necessarily like concerned about anything on the roster. I think probably the thing that maybe if you're wondering how they don't reach their heights in the regular season, it's probably that all of their toughest games are on the road, and just how ready are they to play in those environments? But those are all questions that we're going to find out. I'm not really sure there's a whole lot to be worried about at the moment.
What have been from the time you've been out at practice, time you've talked to Ryan Silverfield and the other coaches, what's kind of the feeling you get from them so far here early in camp?
Admittedly, probably confidence and not arrogance. And I think Ryan's his first press conference on the first day of training camp, I think that was about as loose and relaxed and just kind of fun I've seen Ryan Silverfield. Not that Ryan's like this super uptight, always serious guy, but he did feel like kind of relaxed and like he was enjoying this group. And I was out of practice yesterday, and yeah, they're having fun. I mean, it seems like a group that knows they're good or knows they're talented at least. I think they also know that they haven't accomplished, as Ryan said, a damn thing yet because they're 0-0. The game's not started yet. But yeah, I feel like it's a group that understands that they have all the ability in the world to do some pretty special things this year. And I also feel like they like each other a lot too. And they have a good amount of returners from last year. So I guess, especially offensively. So I guess that's not to be unexpected. But yeah, I think that they're having fun right now. And now obviously it becomes more fun when you actually win. But to start, I feel like the vibes are pretty good.
Matt Infield joining us on the Sissy's Log Cabin guest line. Yesterday, as you probably know, Coach Silverfield was on with Paul Feinbaum.
Yep.
And the quote that we talked about earlier, the first part of it, I think Eli's right. He said, at coach speech, every coach will say this. He was talking about the American Conference in the Group of 5 college football spot. He said, quote, I believe the winner of this conference certainly should go to the playoff. Well, every coach in whatever conference they are certainly going to support that. But then the second part of it was, regardless of what occurs in other conferences. See, I even though he made that statement, I don't think you can make that statement, because if Boise State goes undefeated, knocks off an Oregon, and Memphis loses a couple of games and still wins the American Conference, Boise State's going to get the nod. Now, I wonder what happens in the other 3 Group of 5 conferences, but certainly circumstances will be what determines what school ends up getting the nod.
Yeah, I don't think that we could blindly say that the American is the premier Group of 5 conference, and the winner of the American should essentially lock up that spot. Because like you said, Boise State, if they run the table or come something close to running the table and pick up wins that are of better quality than what Memphis has, then I would probably sit here and say that Boise probably deserves that spot. And I don't think it's totally out of the question that like a team like Liberty, for example, run the table or something like that, and they could claim that spot as well. I feel like Memphis, if they run the table, let's say outside of Florida State, if they go undefeated conference play with the conference championship, they're gonna have a damn good case for sure. But I understand Ryan sticking up for the American. It's kind of what he has to do. But I'm not gonna sit here and say that no matter what Memphis does, if they win the American, they deserve that spot, because I would probably have to look at the resumes of the other teams. But I will say that if they win the conference and have minimal losses on the resume, they'll have a good shot. But I can't just say, they're in automatically.
Right.
Yeah, I would say a one-loss American Conference champion would deserve it over anybody other than possibly the Mountain West. I think one loss there. The others, I don't care if you're undefeated or not in the MAC or Sun Belt or Conference USA, none of those teams are playing a schedule good enough to even undefeated knock out a one-loss American Conference champ.
Yeah, which kind of also brings to mind too, and I'm curious how it would play. But the Florida State game to me is you're almost playing with house money in a way, because if you win that game, what that could do to your resume would be substantial in my mind. At least I think it would. Maybe it wouldn't matter if they. It probably wouldn't matter if they lost 2 or 3 games in conference play, but obviously if they lose that game, that doesn't really do much to hurt you at all. So I'm curious how that plays out. I think that game, the only way that it really hurts you if you're Memphis is if you get your doors blown off 63-7 or something like that. But other than that game strikes me as kind of a house money opportunity to really, really boost your resume, even if it's not a conference play. But with the 12-team playoff this year, I think there are a lot of questions as to how what the selection committee is going to keep in mind and whatnot. So I'm curious for sure.
It's funny too in that game, because you would think Mike Norvell's not going to do that to Ryan Silverfield, but Mike Norvell's also got to think of they're looking at my resume at the end too. If we don't win our conference, I need to be as impressive as possible.
You talk about recent history. It happened to them last year. Yes. So there's no question about it that look, all is fair in love and war. Now, I look at a team like Appalachian State. They didn't have a great year last year, but they were 9-5. They're a very good program that's well received and well respected. In the conference they are in, which is the Sun Belt, which is not a bad conference whatsoever, they play at Clemson week 2, and they play, ironically, at East Carolina, an American Conference school, in week 3. If they upset Clemson, and I'm not saying that's going to happen, but it's not out of the question, and then beat up on an American Conference team and run the table in the Sun Belt, they're going to go. So I don't think it's crazy that one of those other conferences in the Group of 5 outside of the American and Mountain West could have a team like that. I think maybe they learned about Liberty last year, but Appalachian State and Liberty to me are 2 different programs.
Well, they play each other. Those two play each other this year. So.
Plus, you have James Madison on the rise. Plus, you have Coastal Carolina. That's not a bad conference whatsoever. But to get to that point, Memphis has to run they don't have to run undefeated the gauntlet, but they have to get by a lot of these schools that are picked to be near the top or at the top with them. And that means 3 incredibly tough conference road games. UTSA, Tulane, South Florida, all in the preseason, picked right behind Memphis. Matt, that's a lot to ask, to go on the road and win those big 3 games, win all of them. Now, if they lose one, I think they would still be in good shape, even with a Florida State loss. But it is going to be a challenge for Memphis. The schedule makers did not do them any favors.
Yeah, I said, and you guys know there's a little bit of inherent bias. You're keeping my alma mater, but I really have that USF game circled on my calendar. But more than anything, because last year that game here was it felt like a Big 12 game. I mean, no one could stop anyone for 3+ quarters, and then magically, Seth Hennigan gets hurt. Tevin Carter throws the 80-yard touchdown or 85-yard touchdown to Rock Taylor on his first play, and then magically after that, the Memphis defense woke up and was actually able to stop a USF offense. But they're running back, a lot of the same guys from last year, same quarterback in Byron Brown, Alex Bolas going through his second year. So that's a game that I very much have circled on my calendar. And then Tulane's another team that I'm curious how they look, just because, Willie Fritz, to me, they lost the 2 biggest pieces of their rise over the last couple of years. Willie Fritz, the head coach, now at Houston, and Michael Pratt, clearly one of the best quarterbacks in the American in the last couple of years, is now probably going to be Jordan Love's backup in Green Bay this year. So those are 2 significant pieces that they lost. So I'm sure there's still going to be a solid team. I'm not expecting Tulane to be kind of the machine in the American that they were the last couple of years.
That's the thing with Tulane. Yes, they've done some things. They got players on transfer portal, and people seem really like what John Summerall brings. But in the end, like you said, when you lose your head coach, who was a really good head coach and did a lot of good things there, and a legendary quarterback in their program's history. I mean, there is a lot of unknown to just say Tulane is going to automatically be back at the top of the conference.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if they are right in the thick of it again. I just don't expect them to be, like last year when they came here on, what was it, Friday? I think it was a Friday night game when they came here to Memphis, and there's a lot of hype around it, and I think the Tigers have started out pretty well in conference play. But Tulane was pretty clearly the superior team that night, and it was that way for a lot of the last 2 seasons in the American. And I would be surprised if there is any sort of gap between Tulane and the rest of the conference like that this year. If anyone, I would expect Memphis to be that team, but you got to go out and prove it.
Memphis has more talent than any team in this conference, but it's not where it's so much talent that they should walk into a stadium and not put an effort in and come away with a dub. That ain't going to be the case. Even last year, which was a great season and ends up with 10 wins, Matt, how many of those games came down to the wire, a last-minute drive to pull one out. Every game seemed to be close. So this is not going to be a piece of cake. But, again, if you look at it on paper, Memphis has the better team, the deeper team. They've taken advantage of that newfound NIL money from the FedEx Corporation, and, of course, they have a rarity, a unicorn, a 4-year starting quarterback at the same school in Seth Hennigan. So they have all the pieces to get it done. So my question is, if they don't get it done, how is it going to be? How about if they win 10 games, but they don't win the conference championship, let alone go to a 12-team playoff? Are we going to look at it the same as we did last year?
I would probably say anything short. And maybe this is harsh, but I would probably say anything short of a conference championship this year is probably a failure, in my opinion. And I think that the sense of urgency has to be there, and I think it is. But listen, this is just so perfectly set up. Like you said, you've got the rare 4-year starting quarterback at the same school with the same head coach, the same offense coordinator now for 3 seasons. His top 2 wide receivers last year, Ross Taylor, Demir Blankenship, plus Kobe Drake, who I think was 4th on the team receiving, all coming back last year, coming back again. Transfer portal additions on defense. No matter what happens this year, Seth Hennigan is not coming back next year. So you are going to have turnover next season at quarterback, whether it's one of the young guys like an Eric Maiden, or if they go out in the portal, but it is not going to be as smooth going into next season as it is this year. So, like, yeah, you have to strike this year. So, to me, anything short of a conference championship, I think probably should be viewed as a little bit of a failure. Now, if they win the conference championship and they don't make the college football playoff because of whatever reason, that to me is where I think that middle line of, okay, really good season, could have been better, but, overall you'd have to look at it as a success. But, yeah, I think that they have to bring the conference championship home for me to look at the season as any sort of success.
Yeah, they can't control what other teams do. So, yeah, if they fail to make the 12-team playoff, that's not on them. They win the conference championship, goals accomplished, mission accomplished for the most part. But, yeah,
Yep.
I think you're right. Eli, do you agree with Matt, or do you think if they just make the championship game but lose, it would still be deemed as a successful season?
Well, I think it depends where,
how they lose.
Yeah,
or
like what
who it's
going into
against?
that, like, are they the favorite in that game? Like, or where is it? Like, how does the season play out? Maybe like a team like Tulane, we're just about. Maybe Tulane ends up being like awesome,
right?
With Summerall comes in there, everything works out great for them or whatever, and you're like, well, I mean, they're just better than Memphis, and that's just bottom line,
right?
And so you go to that championship game, you get the championship game, and you lose to them for a second time in the season. You go, yeah, they're just better than Memphis still. I mean that. So you have to see kind of how the season plays out, but I think going in, absolutely, the thought is you have to at least be in that championship game.
There's no question.
Let me ask you guys this real quick. If they are in a position where they are not hosting that game, would we probably have concerns about how the season has gone so far?
I guess it would be after the result of the championship game. We'd look back and then we would determine that. I mean, obviously, if they don't get to host, but they win on the road, we're going to salute them.
Yeah.
Right?
Like the thing, like if you lose say you go to any one of those road games, let's say at UTSA, they lose by a field goal, and that costs them the chance to host the game because UTSA ends up winning the tiebreaker or whatever hosts it. Like, can you be like, and that literally could be the only loss of the year, and you go, I mean, that's okay. That is what it is. That just happened.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. All right. Before we let you go, this question I posed on Twitter. I was asked the same question, although it did not include the Grizzlies, by Brett and Bryant last night, or in their show, yesterday afternoon, I should say. So I'm going to ask you, Matt, which team needs it the most? The Memphis Tigers basketball team getting to the NCAA tournament, the Memphis Tigers getting to the football team, getting to the conference championship game, or the Memphis Grizzlies getting to the playoffs?
Yeah, I think I think we were talking about this on Twitter maybe last week. So to me, like, in terms of sense of urgency this year, actually, I think it's a pretty big gap between the two Tigers teams and the Grizzlies. Like, I think the Grizzlies are pretty easily the lowest on that list, just because, again, like, the core of the team is so young that I don't think, like, even if the Grizzlies, like, underwhelmed this year, I think that at that point we would probably be looking at, like, a coaching change or something like that, but we would still have that same level of optimism that this team could do some pretty great things at some point in the very near future. So to me, I would probably go Tiger football 1, just because, like I said, like, this is probably your one opportunity to really strike in at least the next couple of years with the quarterback change that's coming, the turnover there. But I will say, I don't think the Tiger basketball team is that far behind, because I love Petty. I've got a good relationship with Petty, but if that team underwhelms again this year the way that they did last year, some of the outside noise is going to start to become a little bit louder and louder and harder to ignore. So I'll go football 1, just because I feel like football has this rare opportunity that might not come again for a couple of years, but I don't think basketball is super far behind.
See, I think I agreed with you originally on Twitter, but I have thought about it, and I answered this yesterday when they asked me on Sportstime. I think it's men's basketball, Memphis Tigers men's basketball it's the most important year. Again, nothing's going to happen to Penny, but after what happened last year in this really bad conference, they should be able to waltz through it, win the conference championship, get the AQ. Hopefully they do some damage in non-conference and then get a better seed, and we'll see what happens in the tournament. But I think it's extremely important for them to get to the NCAA tournament. Obviously, it's very, very important for football to get to the conference championship game. And I would agree with you that the Grizzlies would be third. I don't know, though, I would have them a distant third. I think this is very important because the disaster that was last year, if they stay healthy this year and they have all the pieces in place and they don't get to the playoffs, that's not good either. And I don't know how you can sit there and go, okay, we're young, we got a bright future. You start to second guess whether you're even going to be in the upper echelon of the Western Conference. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think they're going to have a big year. But that's why I would think, Matt, that they're extremely important as well.
Yeah, I guess like, and maybe I'm wrong. I can't envision a world where they stay healthy and don't make the playoffs. Like, to be like, and
right.
It's the NBA, who knows? But like, to me, to me, the only way they don't make the playoffs is if they have a similar record of injury luck as they did last year. I guess that world doesn't even exist. So for you, is it Tiger basketball for the same reasons I mentioned, like just kind of quieting the outside noise around the program?
It's because the Memphis basketball team should make the tournament by virtue of winning that conference slam dunk, as opposed to even the football team, even though they're the pick to win it. We know the gauntlet they got to go through.
Yeah.
It's going to be tougher for them. It should not be tough for Memphis basketball to win that conference. Florida Atlantic is not
the conference in the two sports is something you're taking into account as well.
Yes, because football. Look, we know that South Florida's on the rise. Your South Florida Bulls are on the rise. They're a good team. I think Tulane will still be good. Maybe not as good, but I still think they'll be very, very competitive. UTSA going there, playing that team, always a physical team. There's three right there. They don't play Army. Who knows what will happen with Army in their first year?
That'll be fun.
but Army, who knows what happens? Could be in the championship game. But with basketball, Florida Atlantic is a shell of what they were.
Yep.
Who else is good? There's nobody. There's nobody in that conference that's UAB's a rival. Okay, maybe a little bit of a challenge. But who should they lose to? Seriously. That's why I look at it and go, it's more important. It's important for both. Extremely important. Don't get me wrong. But I think if the Memphis basketball team doesn't make it to the tournament, whoa, the conversation that we'll be having. All right. Sure. Matt, as always, thank you. Thanks for getting up with us. We appreciate it. We know it's a long day for you.
Just for you guys. Appreciate you guys having me. It's always a fun time, and I'm sure I'll hopefully be back soon if you guys want me back.
Absolutely, Matt. Make sure to follow Matt on Twitter at Matt_infield and check him out at Action News 5, of course, with Doc Holliday, doing a great job, crushing it in the local sports world. Thank you, Matt.
All right, thanks, guys.
Appreciate it. What do you think in the importance of those three?
I think it's Tiger basketball by a mile.
Yeah. Yeah.
If they miss the tournament again,
right,
and in this conference, if they do, at some point we kind of quit saying nothing's going to happen with Penny. At some point, something would have to happen with Penny.
Well, I guess
like if you miss the tournament again this year, like goodness gracious.
I guess it would all depend on how the new AD, Dr. Ed Scott, feels about the situation. He's walking into it. And we'll see what happens. I don't believe that will happen. I think Memphis will make the tournament. I think they'll win the conference and the conference championship, because if they don't, you're right. I mean, there's no more excuses. They are head and shoulders more talented than any team in that conference. And coaching-wise, the staff that he's put together, if all these guys that are out there in Rumorville come to fruition, which it seems like it's probably leaning toward that, that's an incredible coaching staff as well. You have to get it done.
Folks, right now, Genesis Diamonds, one of the most aggressive offers they've ever made. All GIA certified diamond engagement rings marked down an extra 20%. That's right, an extra 20% off their everyday low price that you find at Genesis. They already are amazing with the prices, taking out the middleman with direct importer pricing, and now they're giving you an opportunity to get that engagement ring with an extra 20% off. The vault is open. They're selling the finest handcrafted diamond rings at probably the best price you're ever going to find, but this is only for a limited time. So you need to get on over and see the folks at Genesis Diamonds very soon, this weekend. If you're thinking at all about popping the question anytime soon, now is the time to go get that ring and save yourself some money while doing it. Again, 20% off right now. All those GIA certified diamond engagement rings at Genesis Diamonds. So again, limited time. Take advantage of it and get your great deal on that engagement ring right now at Genesis Diamonds.
When we come back, we'll play the game show that has swept the nation 10 in a row. If you want to participate, jump on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener lines right now at 901-360-8255. I'll give you one hint. Know your Olympics. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Everyone loves home improvement. South Haven Supply and Warehouse 51 makes it easy. A real hardware store run by 3 generations of a real hardware family where you can get it all. Whether it's repairs, remodeling, or new building, kitchens, bathrooms, tiles, tubs, vanities, sinks, mirrors, lighting, furniture, even door hardware. All the latest designs as well as timeless classics. And if outdoor fun is on your mind, they have the big green egg and accessories. South Haven Supply and Warehouse 51, 8560 Highway 51, easy home improvement.
Visit Frontier Western Store today for new shirts and boots. Frontier is your top Carhartt store in the Mid-South. There's thousands of in-stock shirts and jeans. They have the classic K87 pocket tee in every color they make, including new ones just released. Available small to 4X. Want new jeans? Frontier has you covered with super tough work denim by Carhartt. And you've got to check out their selection of Harriet jeans for men, women, and children. You'll love how easy it is to find the size and style you need. Have you seen Frontier's remodeled world-famous boot showroom? It continues to expand. New styles by Ariat just arrived, plus plenty of in-stock proven classics too. Whether you need work or dress boots, trust that Frontier's the place to come. See thousands of pairs of Ariat boots and thousands more by Dan Post, Corral, Durango, Rocky, Twisted X, and others. And Frontier's pricing is lower than online and chain stores, so you know just the local shop to visit. Frontier Western Store, 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch, and on the web at frontierwesternstore.com. Locally owned and operated since 1967.
Rick's Powder Coating for a beautiful finish every time. Rick's Powder Coating specializes in automotive, ornamental, residential, and industrial coating. With 2 conveyor lines and the largest batch ovens in the Mid-South, Rick's can accommodate all of your powder coating needs. Locally owned and operated since 2002, Rick's Powder Coating will customize a beautiful finish just for you. Drop by or call to see how Rick's Powder Coating can bring color to your life. 901-367-2771 or rickspowdercoating.com.
You've got to watch your NFL team every Sunday, and Verizon's got you covered for all your team's out-of-market games every Sunday afternoon. Come on! From kickoff to sign-off, from first downs and touchdowns, to turnovers, and overturned plays.
After review, pass is incomplete.
Let's go! This season, win every Sunday with Verizon. Get a great deal on NFL Sunday ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV, and a new phone. Excludes digital-only games. Terms and quotas apply.
Here for Brian Elder Roofing. For nearly 2 decades, we've installed some of the best roof systems across the Mid-South. To the tens of thousands of clients we've served, we are honored. So many of you call our team at Brian Elder Roofing your roofers. Our team is dedicated to serving you and keeping your family safe, dry, and mold-free. The recent hailstorms have caused massive damage, and many of these will go unnoticed for years, even though the golf ball-sized hail we just experienced in the Mid-South compromises even the best-built roof system. Whether we find damage or not, your photos are securely stored for future reference. Call Brian Elder Roofing today for a total evaluation of your entire roof system free. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. Call me at 901-867-0303. That's 901-867-0303. Or visit us online at
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 95 FM. This hour brought to you by Jenkins Sports and more. And once again, Mark Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everyone. 9:31 is the time. Still have some NFL to get to. We'll do that later on in the show.
Couple of texts here on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener line. One texter says, I think the urgency goes to football to try to go one loss to Florida State and go for the playoff. This could be the turning point year for getting to a better conference.
I don't know if the success, like last year they won 10 games. That mean they're closer now to making it to a conference that there's more expansion. I don't believe that, but it doesn't hurt. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I think it has something to do with it, but like, there's no guarantee. Like, there may not be any changes in any conference next year or whatever. Like, so I mean, while I think that, yes, that has an impact, I don't think there's any guarantee there by any means. So, is that the absolute most important? I wouldn't say so.
Well, look at the situation with the teams that have gone in recently from the American. Some have been better in football. Some have been better in basketball. So, I mean, Houston was really good in basketball, not that good in football. UCF was better in football, not basketball. So there's no rhyme or reason. Memphis has been pretty darn solid since the, second year of Fuente. They have turned into a very, very good football program. Basketball, obviously, is more known for its history. So it's not always that. In fact, that's only part of the equation. The new renovations of the stadium, that is going to help. But it still comes down to, in my opinion, the outsiders, the perception of the city, looking at Memphis and what they see Memphis as, and that has hurt them, I think, in their opportunities to get to another conference. And I think that's a bunch of BS.
I think as far as that goes, you don't want to have a 4-8 season, but the difference between the conference championship game and just missing the conference championship game, I don't think has any much impact there. Reggie says the only way to gauge would be to ask yourself which coach's seat is the hottest. To me, that's Penny.
Ryan just signed a new deal, correct? Didn't Ryan sign a new deal?
Yeah, a 10-win season, that's a guarantee.
Well, no, but I'm saying anyway, when you talk about Memphis or programs in the group of five, money isn't falling out of their pockets, even with the new money from FedEx for the NIL, that when you have a coach who's under contract for 3-4 years, you're not eating that money. Whereas in a big conference, the power conference, they don't mind eating that money. If they want to make a change, they'll make a change.
Well, nothing's happening to Ryan one way or another this year. Penny's seat should be the hottest, but I don't know, who knows what happens there. Taylor Jenkins, as far as that goes, if the Grizzlies were to get off to a really bad start, Taylor Jenkins could be fired 20 games into the season.
Right.
They didn't. I'm telling you right now, and I guarantee you Taylor knows this. That French coach they brought in, you talk about looking over your shoulder, Taylor knows.
But wasn't he a big proponent of bringing him in? Didn't Taylor have a... That's everything I heard, or is that not true?
I do not know.
That they came to Taylor and they said, listen, we want wholesale changes. You're our guy, but we want you to be involved in the decision-making and who we bring in.
I would find it hard to believe that Taylor Jenkins wanted that was Taylor's idea.
Me too, but that's what somebody had told me, that was it was a big part. Somebody was who would know, I would think. But that could be false. That could be a false narrative. All right, it is time for 10 in a row.
Not 5, not 6, not 7, not 8, not 9, but 10 in a row.
It's the game show that has swept the nation. It is 10 in a row. It is brought to you by the Owner's Box and Napa Cafe. The Owner's Box, if you're looking for sports in all the wrong places, try the Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill. It's in Lakeland, in the Lakeland Town Square. I'm sure a lot of folks have watched the Olympic Games at the Owner's Box. It's a fun, exciting, friendly place, comfortable, really comfortable, with wall-to-wall TVs for all your favorite games, all over-the-wall taps for all your favorite beers. They have non-alcoholic. They have local craft beers as well. Now, in front of the wall, that's the full bar for all your other favorite beverages, including a full wine list. Add in an upscale menu, patio seating, daily specials, and events. You found all your sports in the one right place. The Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland Town Square. And take advantage of their lunch specials. Lunch served Monday through Friday from 11 to 3. Everything from sliders to salads to quesadillas to wraps. It's the Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland the Lakeland Town Square.
Also brought to you by Napa Cafe, whether it's a casual night out, just looking for a great meal, or maybe celebrating a special occasion. Well, Napa Cafe is the place to go. Celebrate 26 years. That's right, 26 years. They've been doing it in East Memphis at 5101 Sanderlin. Glenda Hastings and the crew over there. They've got the fantastic places where, like the private wine cellar, if you're celebrating a special occasion, that is an absolutely fantastic way. But no matter what you're doing, what you're looking for, one thing's going to be sure, you're going to get great food. Check out the menu at napacafe.com. You can make reservations on the website as well. They're open for dinner Wednesday through Saturday starting at 5 o'clock. The entire menu is also available for curbside pickup as well. 5101 Sanderlin, that's where you'll find them. Great food, great atmosphere. It is Napa Cafe.
All right, here is the question. Top 10 countries with the most combined Olympic medals, summer and winter games. Top 10 countries with the most combined Olympic medals, summer and winter games. What are the folks playing for?
We've got a $50 gift certificate to Blue City Cafe, $25 to the Owner's Box. Also, golf for 4 out at Miramichi, and a couple of Malco movie passes.
All right, another nice prize package that we offer up to you. All you need to do is jump on the Sports 56 listener lines or the Sissy's Log Cabin listener lines at 901-360-8255. That's 901-360-8255. Let's play 10 in a row. Again, the question, top 10 countries with the most combined Olympic medals, summer and winter games combined. I'll give you the country. If they fit the bill, then it's a yes. If not, it's a no.
Did you know that we just, what was it, yesterday or 2 days ago, we picked up gold medals in figure skating at the Summer Olympics?
What?
We had figure skaters there getting their gold medals.
What, they forgot to pick them up at the Winter Olympic Games?
They just won them.
What's the catch here? I'm looking at you. You got a smile on your face. You got that grin.
There was because it was the I think it was the Russian team had somebody caught doping.
Okay.
And so there was it's been going through court for a couple of years or whatever, and they finally made the decision. So it was our team figure skating. We won gold.
Okay.
So they finally got those medals. I think it was 2 days ago.
Yeah.
And they gave them to them over there. So they won. I don't think that goes on our gold medal count for the Summer Olympics, but we won figure skating gold at the Summer Olympics.
Very, very strange, very interesting, but good for the United States. I wonder, by the way, how stringent our anti-doping measures are for our Olympic athletes.
Well, if you
compared
smoke
to
marijuana, you're out.
Compared to other countries. I mean, China obviously.
Ours are stronger than the world. That's the whole thing.
I know. I just wonder how strong.
That's why they told when Utah got the thing, they said you got to quit blasting WADA.
Right. I mean, China obviously has its issues. Russia had its issues. They're not even participating in these games. I know the United States has a stringent policy. I just want to know how stringent. Like for these NBA guys, were they tested before they headed over to Paris? How often are you tested in the NBA for steroids, things of that nature? I'm just curious.
I'm more sure that they tested them before they got to the Olympics.
You say you don't think they did or did?
I said I'm more sure they did.
Yeah. I'm sure.
I'm just curious if that's all I'm asking is I wonder how often they do that.
Especially LeBron, because the fact that he's 6'8", 255 or something like that.
And he's 70, and he's doing
charging
that.
At you.
All right, top 10 countries with the most combined Olympic medals, summer and winter.
LeBron must have forgot to take his Just for Men with him for that beard, though. that gray is really popping right now.
Nothing wrong with gray, my friend.
Steven is first up. Hey, Steven.
Steven, what's going on? Steven?
Hello, Steven.
Steven once, Steven twice?
Steven.
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, there he is. He went to sleep for a bit. All right. Top 10 countries with the most combined Olympic medals, summer and winter. Austria.
No.
Soviet Union.
Yes.
Cuba.
No.
Netherlands.
No.
Great Britain.
Yes.
Romania.
No.
Poland.
No.
France.
Yes.
Australia.
No.
Brazil.
Yes.
Oh, last one. 360-8255. Are you kidding me?
Anthony's next. Hey, Anthony.
Anthony?
Hey, let's try it.
List 2, Anthony. Unfortunately, not list 1. All right. Finland.
No.
Italy.
Yes.
Canada.
No.
Japan.
Yes.
Germany.
Yes.
Switzerland.
No.
United States.
Yes.
China.
Yes.
Hungary.
No.
Sweden.
Yes.
There's your winner. Wow, well done.
How about that? Anthony, congratulations, sir. You are a winner. Hold on, and Zach will tell you how to get your prizes.
Steven, I feel so bad. He got to Brazil. You would think Brazil, but nope, not top 10. They get clobbered, of course, when it comes to...
they don't do good in the Winter Olympics.
Winter Olympics, yes, exactly.
Not the strength of the waxes.
So you look at these countries that are yeses, where they do well in the winter games, of course, summer games as well. The Soviet Union for all those years, certainly. Great Britain, though, they're not like a winter country. So, I mean, they have winter, but I'm not sure. But they are good in most sports. France, of course, with the French Alps. The Italians with the Italian Alps. Japan certainly has their snow-capped mountains, and Germany does. Switzerland absolutely does. United States does. China does. Sweden, of course, does. So there you go. That's your top 10 for this week. 10 in a row is brought to you by the Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland, in the Lakeland Town Square, and by Napa Cafe. What are you watching?
USA Volleyball, the men playing for the bronze, up 1-0 over Italy.
Go Italy!
The women, that gold medal match is not till Sunday. So they will play Sunday for, I think they play, I don't remember who they play. Maybe Brazil for the gold in the women's volleyball.
So they're playing right up to basically the closing ceremonies?
Yeah, I don't know what time the closing ceremonies start or whatever, all that stuff, but yeah, they play that gold medal match is on Sunday.
Well, I would imagine they have it at night because of the City of Light, Paris, and have that beautiful background.
Women's indoor volleyball played Brazil yesterday.
Oh, they beat. Who do they play in the
Brazil.
championship?
I don't know who's in the championship, but I can look it up.
Maybe Australia? I can't remember. I looked at it.
Maybe Italy.
I can't remember who the heck it is that they play. That's right. Brazil was yesterday. Yeah, I can't remember who the gold medal match the gold medal match gets, but it's on Sunday.
All right, when we come back, we got some NFL news to get to. We'll do that. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
They're taking care of business in Memphis, right on the river with Grind City Brewing and all of their great products. Look, this was a dream come true for a father and son duo. And if you have not been to that brewery right on the river, just to the north of downtown, you're really missing something special. And now you can't miss their product. Wherever you go, you see a brand new label. It's clean, it's beautiful, it's distinctive. You'll know Grind City Brewing, and of course you know their products like Poppy's Pills, that great Pilsner, or Tiger Tail, that very creative craft malt liquor. There's the new Thaddeus Amber Lager. That is absolutely a great light beer. There's the India Pale called God Hopper. It's outstanding. And then there's the Belga, the Belgian-style wheat ale. They keep bringing hits at Grind City Brewing. Memphis Public Links has so much going on right now. Audubon is right around the fairway. Wait until you see when this thing is a finished product. Fox Meadows is in great shape. The Links at Pine Hill is now a masterpiece of a place to play, as are really all the other Memphis public golf courses. Galloway is playing like a championship course. They just finished the 75th year of the OPO, and Overton Park is now talked about, and that layout all across the state. And by the way, folks, it's so easy to make a tee time. The hard part is getting your buddies to pick their time. You go online to memphispubliclinks.com, select your course, then grab your tee time. Simple, easy, and incredibly convenient. Also, on the website is a schedule of upcoming events. There you'll find something that will interest you. Again, if you want to book a tee time or find out more about tournaments or other events at any of the great Memphis public golf courses, go online to memphispubliclinks.com.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
Don't be surprised this week to see other jewelry store owners shopping at Genesis Diamonds. They'll be taking advantage of Genesis' most aggressive offer ever. All GIA diamond engagement rings are down an extra 20% below Genesis everyday price.
That's right, the vault is open, and we're selling the finest handcrafted diamond rings at rock bottom prices. Now for a very limited time.
The GIA is the world standard of diamond values for accuracy and documented quality. So you can buy with confidence.
Every Genesis engagement ring is included in this event from 8 carat up to 20 carat stones.
Ships, rings, and butterflies. Special cuts, pure shapes, and patterns of prices and prices. Strong value price on a GIA. Purchase engagement ring. This selection is Genesis Diamonds. GIA Diamond Extended.
Save an extra 20% bonus for your precious diamond rings and offer a limited time.
Exclusively at Genesis Diamonds. Extended subscription terms.
Sports 56 mornings on Sports 56 and 95 FM. This hour brought to you by James Floors and More. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everybody. NFL preseason. 3 games tonight. The Eagles, Ravens, the Texans, Steelers, and the Falcons, Dolphins. Last night there were 2 games, including the Giants and the Lions. Giants beating the Lions 14-3. Again, the main line players, the starters, for the most part, did not play whatsoever. But Eric Gray did play. I mentioned it earlier. The Lausanne product had a huge game. 4 carries, 52 yards, and 2 touchdowns, 4 catches, and 46 yards. The Giants went out and got what running back? It was on the
Singletary.
Hard Knocks. They got Devin Singletary. But again, you lose Saquon Barkley, who goes to the Eagles, and they're looking for guys right there with Singletary to be a part of the offense. And Eric Gray certainly helped himself an awful lot last night. I know it's meaningless. It's a preseason game. For these guys, it's not meaningless.
Boy, he on the 48-yard touchdown, that poor defensive back.
The juke he made?
He that man, there's some rough ankles. Rough ankles on that dude.
There's also a jockstrap still on the field. Hendon Hooker. Good to see that. The former Tennessee Vol, who last year obviously is behind Goff, but was on injured reserve, I believe, for the most part. He's come back from injury, 5 of 9, 36 yards, 4 rushes, and 34 yards. So he looked pretty good, Hendon Hooker. Good to see him out there and being healthy.
Very, very good for him to be healthy.
Also, you had the Patriots beat the Panthers 17-3. No Bryce Young. The Patriots and Gerard Mayo, their new head coach, used 4 quarterbacks in the game. Jacoby Brissett started, went 0 for 3. Then Drake May came in for a series, the rookie from North Carolina, the 3rd overall pick. I think he threw 1 pass. Basically,
Drake May was 2 for 3.
2 for 3, sorry. And then he handed off the ball a few times to Antonio Gibson, the former Memphis Tiger, who comes over from the Commanders. Then you had Bailey Zappi, who played the bulk of the game. And then you had Joe Milton come in. Joe Milton, the 3rd from Tennessee, went 4 of 6 for 54 yards and a touchdown, 5 rushes for 22 yards. Pretty good performance. Milton, I keep hearing, has been pretty good in camp, pretty electrifying in camp.
As long as he's not throwing balls into the 4th row.
So how do you think that will go down with the quarterbacks? A lot of teams, you know, they carry the 2 and then the 3rd, the emergency quarterback. But I would imagine if Milton's showing them something, obviously Drake May's their guy, Brissett more than likely to start the year, then Zappi's gone, right? That's the only conclusion I can come up with here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how they look at Milton versus Zappi, and I mean, I don't know what Zappi is making, any of that stuff. So.
Right, but May I don't think is going to be the starter game number one, and things can change over the next couple of weeks. And as far as the Panthers are concerned, even the backup Andy Dalton did not play. I'm not sure if he's banged up a little bit, but Bryce Young didn't play at all. They had a guy, Jake Plummer, play. No relation to the other Jake Plummer that played in the NFL for the Cardinals and played at Arizona State. Jake the Snake. Nope, no relation there. I mentioned Antonio Gibson now with the Patriots. 4 catches, make that 4 rushes for 4 yards, 1 catch for 13 yards.
So the women's volleyball does play Italy. So we got an USA-Italy battle.
How did I pull that out of my hind
in the volleyball? Men playing them now, but the women play them for gold on Sunday. This afternoon, you've got USA women's basketball. And not this afternoon, that's this morning. 10:30 this morning, they play Australia in women's basketball in the semifinals there. They're a 15.5-point favorite. Australia actually has 6 WNBA players on their roster, which surprised the heck out of me. I had no idea there was another country that had many WNBA players.
Well, they had that one
roster.
Great player. Who's the big Zach that I think she's retired now that came from Australia? Blonde.
Was it Liz Cambridge?
No. I don't know if I'll come up with it, but anyway.
Great for pulling that name. I don't know who Liz Cambridge is, but that's awesome.
I know Liz Cambridge.
You just pulled that name out.
Yeah.
That was amazing that you pulled that out.
No, but that's not the right one, but it's a very good player, Liz Cambridge.
Women's soccer, again, goes for the gold tomorrow at 10 a.m. Obviously, again, the men's basketball tomorrow, 2:30. They're a 16-point favorite against France in the gold medal there. In the women's golf, there's a two-way tie atop the leaderboard. Lydia Ko and Mariajo Uribe are tied for the lead. Nelly Korda and Rose Zhang now both 2 back in the women's golf, which will go through tomorrow. Tomorrow will be the final round of the women's golf at the Olympics.
Did you see yesterday she had the quad on the par 3 and rallied to, I believe, shoot 2 under yesterday or 1 under?
She shot yesterday. She was 2 under. Nelly Korda was 2 under yesterday.
So she was able to bounce back very nicely. Lauren Jackson is who I'm thinking of. Do you remember Lauren Jackson? No. Widely considered to be the Australia's greatest female basketball player of all time, has led the Australian women to the Olympic podium 4 times. How about that?
Look at you guys just spouting out women's basketball names.
You know it, baby.
Just think if Caitlin Clark's grandfather was from a different country and she would have went and played for the different country. Teach them to not take her to the Olympics. But there was one other Olympic thing I was going to mention. I don't remember what it was.
Okay.
Oh, I was looking at the 4x100 relays. Our men are actually a bigger favorite than our women in the 4x100, which shocks me. Especially with Noah Lyles out.
Yeah, I was going to say, who replaced Lyles?
I mean, not that again, we've got so many of them that it doesn't really matter, but our men are a minus 450 favorite. The women are a minus 400 favorite in the 4x100. And then we've also got the big favorite in the 400-meter hurdles, Rye Benjamin.
Mm-hmm.
So we can be adding a lot more golds possibly today.
Well,
and then obviously through the weekend.
I always enjoy the games, the summer games more than the winter games, but I still like the winter games. I just love the countries battling it out, the competition, the thrill of victory, the agony of defeat. But
I don't know who's favored in breakdancing.
Okay. Let me get to that here real quick because we're almost out of time. But the point I was going to make is I've enjoyed this track and field, these athletes more as a collective unit than anyone. Now, individually, there's those that I've loved, like Carl Lewis or like Edwin Moses. And FloJo, one of my favorites of all time. But the group here and their stories, their backlines, I talked about this, their backstories rather, are incredible. And so I've fallen in love with this track and field team.
You want to bet
especially Gabby Thomas.
If you don't want to bet the USA men and women both to win the 4x100, it's still only minus 210.
So Zach Boyd, I think, has fallen in love with breakdancing at the Olympics. He says it's now his new favorite sport. What the hell? When was breakdancing big? 20 years ago? 30 years ago?
The 80s.
I mean, I know the Europeans are a little bit behind the Americans. Did they finally just get breakdancing? I know it was the IOC that had to make this call, but get rid of that. That is just absolutely
Why? Why do you want to get rid of it? Let these go. Who cares? Let them represent their country and win medals.
You know what's the show? What's the show with Simon Cowell? Simon Cowell's show. America's Most Talent. America's Greatest Talent. Whatever it is. I don't want singers on that. That's why they have The Voice. That's why they have American Idol. Don't give me singers and put them into the final. Give me something that's outside the box. Well, in the Olympics, I'm sure that's outside the box, but I don't want to see dancing.
Then don't watch it. You don't have to watch it. Have you watched it yet?
No, and I'm not going to watch it.
So, but why do you want them not to have a chance to represent their country or win a gold?
Well, then again, we might as well have monopoly.
That's fine.
I'll represent the country.
If they want to do that, I'm fine with it.
I'll kick tail. You get the yellows. Don't worry about Boardwalk and Park Place. All right, that's going to do it for us this week. Want to thank you all, folks, for listening, but watching, of course, if you're watching us on YouTube or any of the other social media platforms. But most of you, of course, listening to us. Want to thank John Varlas and Matt Infield for joining us on the show today. We're back on Monday, another season with Barrett Salee. He'll join us at 9:05. We'll be on the air from 7 to 10 as we are every day of the work week. Coming up next, Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Stay tuned for that. For Eli Savoy and for Zach Boyd, I'm Greg Gaston. Have a great weekend, everybody.